What's up, my dudes? It's a Vigorous Q&A again, and it's the last one of the year. Yes, I don't know how many I did this year, but it feels like I was here every fucking weekend. And we lost monetization. Shit, fuck, piss. Well, I guess this is going to be the Tourette's Vigorous Q&A. Fuck, what a start, dude. Yeah, we definitely lost monetization. So I'm counting on you guys to supply me some super chats because, well, otherwise I won't make any money again. I turned on super chats last week. So apparently last weekend, after the YouTube ban of 4 days, they turned off the super chats and the super likes and all that stuff. So I turned it on again. So if anybody willing to throw me $1, then at least I can confirm that it's working again because we definitely lost monetization. Okay, quick updates. Anabolic Roundtable episode 7, I think, dropped last Monday, maybe episode 8, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. I think it's the 7th one because I made it a playlist for the Anabolic Roundtable, and that was the 7th one that I added. So that one is live. We discussed the peptide tier list. Everybody got fucking butthurt that we put generic growth hormone at the same level as MK677. So let me explain. If you take 2 to 3 IUs of generic GH, then that's probably more expensive than taking 20 to 30 milligrams of MK677, which will give you comparable results regarding serum growth hormone and serum IGF-1 levels. But if you take 10 IUs generic GH and compare that to 10 IUs Pharma GH, then you probably get better results with Pharma GH, albeit that you're probably off cheaper. So, and you'll probably get more side effects due to the impurities. Now, if you have absolutely phenomenal generics, it's probably on par with Pharma GH. But based on my personal experience trialing a boatload of different generics, even the ones that I'm using currently or was using up until 2 weeks ago when I decided to discontinue everything. You know, the local brands here in Thailand, all of the generics that I tried that I bought online from reputable sources and not so reputable sources, all things considering, I would still say that Pharma growth hormone, even though it's more expensive, is better than generic GH. But again, in the off season, I would just go with generic GH, even though it's a C tier peptide. But during a cutting phase, I would definitely go with Pharma grade. This is why I'm running, well, close to free generics right now, or was running close to free generics right now, because the water retention and the edema and then all the puffiness, it doesn't really matter when you're in the off season because you're going to be puffy and edemic from the excess calories and the excess sodium and just gaining a little bit of body fat anyway. So what does it matter? But if I were to have to make a choice during a cutting phase, I would run Pharma growth hormone, even though it's more expensive. So, all right, the super chats has landed. Well, $50. I'll take it. I'll take it for my holiday. Thank you so much. Tim Reed, also thank you very much. So that was a little explanation of the tier list. Sorry to leave everybody butthurt. Again, you can make up your own decisions. It's just the professional opinion of myself, Kurt Havens, and Dr. Dean St. Mart, having coached between us, well, a fuckload of people. I mean, if we're going to start swearing this episode, might as well close off this year with a bang, right? For fuck's sake. So we coached a boatload of people, including some pros, or helped pros out here and there, interpreting their blood work and, you know, making sure their cycles are as optimized as possible. So if you don't want to take our word, then feel free to run whatever the fuck you want, right? It's your money. You can spend it however you want to spend it. We also recorded the upcoming Anabolic Roundtable with John Jewett. Yes, but you're going to have to wait until next year because otherwise you guys get spoiled. So that will drop in 2 weeks on Monday, the 6th of January. No, I'm not going to release it sooner because next week the views will be shit because everybody's going to enjoy their Christmas holiday, right? As am I. I'm going to New Zealand next week and until New Year's, so I will not be watching on YouTube, and most of you guys will probably not be watching on YouTube. So as soon as the New Year is over, we will be dropping new content left and right, starting with the Anabolic Roundtable on January 6th, which is when I start fasting because I need to get these digestive issues under control. Okay. That's pretty much it for the update. Oh yeah, there's a big fat discount over at iHerb until the end of the year. 20% to 50% discount on various over-the-counter supplements, linked already down below. So if you want to save yourself some money, still after you spend all of your money during Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all the Christmas gifts and the New Year gifts and the alcohol and the fireworks and the trips and all that stuff, if you have some money left, and you still want to save yourself some money for supplements, right? The links are down below. I get it. I spent a lot of money this month. Yeah, so I feel your pain, right? I get it. I totally get it if you don't have any more money to spend. It's okay. January is just around the corner, and hopefully we'll get paid some sweet salaries then. All right, let's get into the member questions because there's a boatload of them. So we're going to go through this fast. But let me get started with some hydro because my mouth is already dry. Ranik. Hey Steve, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks while on 250 milligrams testosterone anthate per week. Won't be able to inject while on vacation. If you had to guess, will you be able to feel the dip in testosterone towards the end? No, I would do 500 milligrams testosterone anthate sub-Q. So 1 cc left sub-Q space and 1 cc right sub-Q space, and then forget about it. Bring some aromatase inhibitors with you. That should be totally fine, right? It just looks like fucking vitamins after all. And just leave it at that. I'm going to shoot 500 milligrams testosterone anthate Tuesday right before I leave, but I'm not using aromatase inhibitors because I'm going to do my gyno surgery on January the 14th. Yeah. With some lipo and all these kinds of surgery. It should look pretty fucking nice. I talked to the doctor this week. So, but that's besides the point. So just inject your stuff. Maybe overdo the aromatase inhibitors a couple days leading up to your holiday, then forget about it, and you will not feel any dip, because on holiday you're going to be eating and chilling and probably not training super hard. So I doubt you'll notice any dip in performance. And if you notice a dip in performance, you can overcompensate by eating a little bit more carbs. You should be okay. Injected daily sub-Q. Okay, so the last day, if you do daily sub-Q, 250 milligrams testosterone anthate per week, I would pin 250 milligrams sub-Q in one shot on the day that you leave to cover the next 2 weeks, and then you should be fine. And again, testosterone anthate has a 2-week half-life, or let's say 8 to 12 days, give or take, depending on the carrier oil and the injection depot and the injection depth. In this case, sub-Q, so it's probably longer. And in that case, you'll be covered for the next couple of weeks, even if you stop. You'll feel like shit after 5 to 6 weeks of your last shot. All right, Colin Dione, welcome to the Vigorous crew. Steve, was wondering if you ever took any Prohormones back in the day about 10 years ago when they were popular. No. I went straight to the real deal, testosterone and injectable Winstrol. So I never took any Prohormones. Superdrol I took, which is technically not a prohormone, but it was classified as a prohormone. Back then it was sold as a prohormone, but it's just basically a real fucking steroid. Let's see. I took a few cycles of Prohormones when I was 21, had kidney pain, but blood tests never showed anything. Okay, no, I never took them, man. I took the real deal. I experimented with a few SARMs, and after experimenting with Austrian LGD and, LK677, SR9009, GW1516, which are not classified as SARMed, the only one that I ever liked was the YK11. And don't worry, there'll be a deep dive in January. Just be patiently waiting until my holiday is over. 7 waiting, 9 likes. We're in new territory. Well, we have 126 people watching, so I expect 126 likes by now, which probably didn't happen. But feel free to like otherwise, right? It helps the channel after all. Zionic. Hey, Steve, you told me about taking Gorilla Mode's Cyclic PM or Cyclean PM along with Anavar to increase the effectiveness of Anavar. Yes, because Cyclean PM has a naringin, which prevents the breakdown of substrates for the cytochrome P450 enzymes, including Anavar. It will do the same for Winstrol. It will do the same for all the other substrates for the P450 3A4 enzymes. So if you're running 50 milligrams on training days, then yes, it should be more potent. And you can accomplish the same thing with something like fluvoxamine. That's why I don't take naringin, unless I take, or naringin or bergamotin, found in grapefruit juice. Or grapefruit, because I'm on the fluvoxamine SSRI gain train. Let's see, Downsize asked, I'll be in Phuket soon. Are there any pharmacy chains in Thailand that you trust more than other for real products? So you're asking me where to buy steroids in real pharmacy chains. There are none. Watson's or Boots don't sell steroids. You have to go to the pop and mom shops. And if you're going to Phuket, all you have to do is go to one of the gyms like Maximum Fitness or Phuket Gym. Ask around there at the bodybuilders, like, hey, bro, I just arrived. Which of the fucking pharmacies are good and which of the brands are legit? And I can tell you right now that only Bayer Testoviron is legit. And the underground lab that I can no longer mention, apparently, is not being sold in the pharmacies. So you have to ask around in the gyms and look for legitimate distributors, which are probably Thai guys. If you contact me on Instagram, big fucking chance. Protect your sources. If I meet you in the gym, you'll have to come back to Bangkok. And, well, if you're going to be arriving in Phuket soon, that's right around the time that I'm in New Zealand. So ask around in the gyms. And what is early available over the counter in Thailand besides Bayer test? That's about it, man. Proviron test, Nandrolone, Decadurabolin. Not entirely sure if those are legit, but they look legit. Bayer Rimabolin is not available anywhere. What I can link for you is the Thai FDA database. And there you can search what is available and legit. And the underground labs are obviously not listed. Where's my link? There we go. This you should be able to link downstairs. So you go to this FDA website, Thai FDA, National Drug Information Database. It all is in Thai, but you have two search search panes there, where you just type in something like, oxymetholone, type in enter, and then you should be able to get some results. Should be. Do I get any results? Yeah. And then you can ask Google to translate the page. So you have androlic tablets, Andromet, Anapollon, Oxymedon, and you just go with this list to the pharmacy and say, listen, I want some androlic tablets, which are being produced by, well, it should be British. Oh, here, this is in, translate with Google. Translate to English. No, I haven't used this website in a while. Where the fuck is it? Translate to English? Snake brand. Well, it might be some translation issues. Anyway, they'll be able to read Thai, obviously, because they're Thai pharmacists. So you just go to the website on your phone. It's linked down below. You type in whatever drug you're looking for, and if you get some sort of entry, they might be able to hook you up with it. But it will be in the pop and mom shops that will be recommended by the guys in the gym. So fingers crossed, they'll send you in the right direction. That being said, Phuket, everything will be twice as expensive as it is in Bangkok because it's a tourist area. Ryan Marsh asks, hey, Uncle Steve, that's Daddy Steve. Daddy Steve from now on. What is a good dose of Turinabol in your experience? Merry Christmas for you and your family in advance. Thanks for all, mate. Okay, I don't know, to start off, 20 milligrams, you can always escalate upwards, right? 20 milligrams, 40 milligrams, 60 milligrams, and that's pretty much the end of it. I would say that from my own personal experience, 20 milligrams feels about as potent as 5 milligrams, 10 milligrams Anavar. And then 40 milligrams Turinabol feels as potent about 20 milligrams Anavar, give or take. And it's a bit up to a preference and experience. But if you're new to Turinabol, just start at 20 and escalate the dose upwards as needed. Commissioned asks, I've been taking 500 milligrams L-Tryptophan every night as part of your sleep protocol. Recently got into methylene blue, 12 milligram per dose. That's pretty high. Do I need to drop to 500 milligrams L-Tryptophan completely? No, I don't think so. Even though it's a MAOI inhibitor, I mean, you're only taking 500 milligrams L-Tryptophan. If you do the research on your diet, you probably get more tryptophan from your diet than just 500 milligrams. You probably get like 5,000 milligrams or 10,000 milligrams L-Tryptophan from your diet because it's an amino acid found in animal meat sources. So unless you're a vegan, I don't think you need to stop 500 milligrams L-Tryptophan every night. And you probably take a methylene blue in the morning. So by the time that it's nighttime, most of that's already metabolized. But I would lower the dose to 3 to 10 milligrams because I know a lot of guys increase the dose to 12, 25, 100 milligrams. But the higher you dose methylene blue, the lower your hematocrit is going to be. And even though you get increased oxygenation and sensibility of oxygen, when you breathe, you get that oxygenating feeling, especially when you combine it with PiCO2, 2 to 4 grams pre-workout. Sweet stack, I promise you. If you start dosing it higher, your hematocrit red blood cell count comes down and you actually lose stamina over time. So 10 milligrams per day is probably the max dose, and I only do it a couple times per week. I took it 5 times per week, maximum. Skull asks, what's your current leg routine? I know you mentioned earlier you don't train legs for size anymore. No, it's back. And it's back that I don't train for size. I mean, look at these silly lats. What the hell, dude? What the hell? Yeah. See, I don't need lats. I still train legs. So I train legs twice per week. Tuesday and Friday. I do 3 exercises for quads and I do one working set and one backup set each. And then sometimes I do a 7th set, but that's usually depends on how I feel and how the workout is going, or if I feel that I underperformed on certain sets where I feel like I need a little bit more stimulation to get the same amount of hypertrophy signaling done. So that's I actually discussed this in one of my previous videos. So I have an A and B routine. So let's say in the first A routine for quads, I would train a leg press. I would do that in the hammer strength toe press machine, which is actually designed for calves, but instead of pressing with my toes, I press with my heels, and I put the seat all the way forward so the knees are in my chest. And then I press, and then the last little press, I can't lock out my knees. The last little press is into the machine, so I can press as hard as I want, but the machine doesn't go any further. Then I slap 7 or 8 plates on each side. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. And I use a 15-kilo chain per side to get a little bit of progressive resistance. I go down slow for a second negative. I hold it in the bottom position, so the weight is on the bottom, basically. The knees are in the chest, choking me out. And then I keep it there for about 2 seconds before exploding in a 2-second positive with a 1-second press against the machine. 8 to 10 reps, give or take, sometimes 12 if I feel lucky. If I had 100 milligrams of Anadrol pre-workout, which I'm skipping currently, so it's only, 6 to 8 reps right now because I'm off all the juicy juice, basically. And then I do a backup set with maybe 7 plates or 6 plates, depending on how the previous set went. Then I go to the H squat. Again, most people don't have that available, so do a V squat or regular hack squat. And then a leg extension, with 2 seconds in a hole and a full 2 seconds up with a second at the bottom, top contraction, keeping my legs straight, and then 4 seconds down. So, and the same for the H squat or the hack squat. That's my A routine. Then I do some hamstring work, some glute work, some calf work. That's all not very interesting because I don't go to failure. That's not what I'm focusing on. I'm trying to focus on my quads. And then on the second workout, I would do, let's say, hip press. So it's very similar to the toe press in the hammer strength machine, but it's a hip press. So you go up instead of forward and down. And then I do a V squat for sure, and then another variation of a leg extension. So I basically do the same workout, albeit on different variations. One working set, one backup set, which is a couple reps in reserve. It's mostly for a higher rep range. And in the beginning of the week, I do a little bit lower rep range than at the end of the week because I have a little bit more carbs in my system for my Sunday cheat meal. Now, that works for me, might not work for you, but give it a try and see where you end up. Lugo DH, I'm taking testosterone cypionate and aromasin daily. I'm taking HCG Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Would the best time for blood work be Saturday before any tests or aromasin? No, I would take it, if you take it daily, I would just do it Saturday morning. You can shoot tests or you can see what your trough is, but if you inject your testosterone an hour before, how much is that really going to raise your serum levels? So it might be a fluctuation of 5%. So I don't think it matters. What will be a difference is the Friday sub-Q HCG administration, which will peak your testosterone and estradiol the next day. So I usually did it, I do a similar protocol as you, right? Testosterone anti-daily sub-Q. I would take no aromasin in this context, but if I were to take aromasin, I would take a small dose, maybe one Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I would check my levels on Saturday because the estradiol that's being produced on Friday in the testicles cannot be blocked by aromasin. All right. And if you really want to micromanage, then check it again on Monday, 3 days after your last HCG administration to see what the trough is of your estradiol levels. Benja Heights asks, Pharma Anavar worth it? Yes. Oxybone, Bonivar, which I'm probably the only living person in existence who still has some Bonivar in stock. 200 boxes were up for sale, and I got all of them. So when you build a relationship with your pharmacist, they're like, hey, Steve, I got this Bonivar that's close to expiring. It's expiring in a couple months, and they're not going to produce anymore. I got 200 boxes. Can you help me get rid of it? I'm like, what's the price for 200 boxes? And she gave me like the most generous discount for being a 15-year long-term customer. So it's like, I'll take all. So are you going to resell? I said, no. I might give away a few as gifts, which I did here in Bangkok. All the guys can vouch for this. It's your birthday. It's Christmas. You get some boxes of Bonivar, but only 2 per time. No more. The rest is mine. So yeah, you have Oxybone. What's the other one from Iran? Let's see, versus, well, the unnameable underground lab here in Thailand and other parts of the world. So I tried that brand also, and I feel that it's pretty comparable, but you don't get the bragging rights, right? Of course, you get a more raging hard-on of the ultimate hard-ons, especially. So let's say you get the ultimate hard-on stimulated by DHT and the bathmate, from telling everybody that you're on Bonivar or Oxandrin or Oxybone or whatever Iranian pharma grade Anavar that's still available, versus that you just get a regular hard-on by saying that you're on a very high potent underground lab. Even though the results might be exactly the same, right? The girlfriend comes and she couldn't notice a fucking difference, and that's probably the same as you. I ran the underground Anavar of this particular brand, and I couldn't notice a fucking difference. So I would say that it's pretty the same. So go for the best deal because, well, 100 times 2.5 milligram tablets for $100 is probably twice the price as going with an underground lab milligram for milligram. And again, the underground labs that are doing it right, that I might vouch for and endorse. I would rather go with that if you're on a budget. But again, bragging rights are bragging rights, and I would rather tell people that I'm on Bonivar than underground lab XYZ, even though it's reputable as fuck. Zionic asks, traveling for 5 days with microdosing retatrutide Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Should I double my dose on the last day home before I travel or keep the dose the same? Dude, you're traveling for 5 days. It has a very long half-life, and increasing the dose, you might notice a week later when you're already back because, dosage increases. You usually take about a week to build up. So keep it exactly the same. I think you get sufficient appetite suppression while you're traveling. And then you pick up the slack when you get back, you know? But if you're doing continental use flight travel with open supplements advice, I know when I was in the US, I threw everything into my carry-on and I didn't think about it. But do what you have to do. I have a video about this. It's traveling with gear. That's what it's called. Randy March asks, what's a good methylene blue starting dose? Reading about 0.5 milligrams per kilogram. Thanks and advice. I would start with 3 milligrams, then 5 milligrams, and 10 milligrams, and escalate the dose upwards only and only if you're an endurance athlete or you don't run any other nootropics, which I think it's better to take methylene blue at a low dose and stack it with other nootropics for nootropic benefits than megadosing a single compound. Benjamin asks, MOTS-c 10 milligrams once reconstituted. It lasts for 2 weeks. Yeah. So surprisingly, I was told, and when I was doing research on MOTS-c, is that you should reconstitute it and use it right away. So I cringed at those 10 milligram vials or 50 milligram vials that I've seen on the gray area peptide website. So I always did 5 milligrams, reconstituted 5 to 10 minutes later. I would pin and suffer sometimes the horrible, what do you call it? Anaphylactic shock close to it. At least flushing and just feeling uncomfortable and getting this, nasty sensation that lasted for a couple hours at the injection site, unless you went intramuscular. It looked like borderline cellulite. So then I got from MA, now I have to use the abbreviations now, because you never know when this Steve is going to get banned again. MA, I used that one, 10 milligrams, and then I just shot 1 milligram sub-Q 5 days a week on training days, which I've been doing up until recently when I decided to just throw in the towel and relax a little bit, clean out, for the upcoming surgery. And then the first injection worked the last injection worked exactly the same as the first injection, which took place, 2 weeks later, because I reconstituted it on Monday, did 5 milligrams that week over 5 injections of 1 milligram, and then another 5 milligrams of injections of 1 milligram over the following 5 days on training days. So that's basically 12 days apart, and the last injection worked exactly the same as the first injection. So maybe the people that talk online or that informed me didn't know what they were talking about, but it seems that if you reconstituted it back to your static water, the potency is not lost over 2 weeks. And I now have multiple people vouching for that. So again, my mistake, but I was told that you need to pin it right away. So I guess, it was not as fragile as people made it out to be. Live and learn. Alvaro, Steve, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm asking Alvaro if he's doing well. All right, did we go through the questions? Good. We're only 25 minutes behind. While running 50 milligrams daily Winstrol, taking TUDCA and 500 milligrams daily. Should I dose at 500 milligrams once, or I would go up to 1,000 milligrams TUDCA, because most of the TUDCA is not as potent as you might think. So I would, if you're running orals, just go up to 1,000 milligrams TUDCA, and I would run 500 milligrams if you're on cycle, and 250 milligrams as a maintenance dose when you're just cruising. So I would do 250 milligrams with every single meal. That's what I'm doing right now, and I'm not even using orals. But I haven't done any blood work, and the last blood work I did, my liver enzymes were a little bit elevated. So I'll be running that until the end of my fast, and then I'll do another blood work, and then see where I'm at if I need to lower the dose. Fiber intake is sufficient. Yeah, I've heard that before. And you ask them, how much fiber are you taking? Yeah, 13 grams, bro. 30, 37, 40, 50. Oh, well, let's do some super chats first. Have you bought the Vigorous mobile? Oh, no, not yet. No, I didn't even get a chance to go to the car show. So that's going to have to wait. All right, Jason, again, $50 super chats. Thank God those super chats are going through again. Eduardo, Master Steve. Only on test now, 600 milligrams per week. Drop the Primo. Winstrol, does it make sense that blood pressure dropped from 15.8 to 11.7? What is that? Are we talking blood pressure amounts? Are we missing a zero in this equation? 150 over 80 and 110 over 70? Eduardo, please fill us in, because I've never heard of a blood pressure 15 over 8 or 11 over 7. So I'm not sure what blood pressure measurements you're talking about, but please inform us. I'll be looking out for your name at the bottom of this long list of super chats. Yeah, it could be the blood pressure drops because you have lack of less androgens than before. But I don't know if you were a 600 test, 600 Primo, and 350 Winstrol per week. You know, it's yeah, could be multiple different things. Zionic, watch the holiday meal eating video, but I'm on a retreat. I'd love to know, should I use diet or berberine with larger meals or beta hydrochloric peptide and Betaine ginners? Thank you. Yeah, sure, go for it, man. Go for it. Whatever you can mitigate the fat gain, but you know, honestly, it's holiday, dude. Fucking relax. You can do better in January. Frequently see people claiming that a test-based cream is will clear metabolites by the morning. Can an athlete subject to running? I've never helped anybody regarding drug testing with creams. I would always do injectable or sublingual. And I would say that sublingual is probably better to clear the drug, to beat the drug test a couple days a week. When you take that a couple days per week, compared to test cream, because sublingual goes straight into the bloodstream, and test cream goes into the subcutaneous space where some of the metabolites might stay behind. So I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea, dude. I've never recommended test-based cream to anybody. I think that's an inferior method besides sublingual testosterone in any way or for any kind of purpose. So, sorry. Low dose Anadrol and 100 milligrams per week on top of TRT, 170 milligrams per week testosterone cypionate to help with joint pain and arthritis. Is it worth it? Thanks for all you do. Yes. Check your estradiol levels because they will surely go up. Questions about weekly Q&A. Do you happen to see the same members ask questions each week? Yeah, I see you, Zionic, multiple times asking questions. Yes, I remember. Do you happen to remember any past information about us since you've got to the nose? No, fucking no, dude. I do not remember. It's on a question-to-question basis. I'm not your coach. I'm under no obligation to remember anything you say for $10 a month. If you want me to remember, we'll have an email conversation, and that will be part of the VIP package. So you ask your question, I answer it with no recollection of what you might have asked in the past. No, dude. What do you think? Is this $10 coaching a month? Come on, dude. What the fuck are you thinking? Just finished 2 years of enclomiphene. Wasn't aware of clotting risk. Anything I should add to my supplement stack to help negate said risk of was stop enclomiphene enough? Regarding joints of steel, intramuscular sub-Q. Joints of steel from MA, I would go sub-Q. That's what I've been doing. And my elbows and knees, even while running YK11, but I was also on nandrolone and ment, which is, lubricating the joints quite a bit, especially because my estradiol was pretty fucking high. That was also beneficial. But yeah, I had no joint issues on Joints of Steel, nandrolone, and ment. And that might be the cycle that I will be doing even though I'm cutting, because the joint protection was so beneficial that I basically ended up at my all-time strongest, which is especially for the intensity and the grueling time under tension that I subject myself to. I don't think you need to do anything right now. If you didn't die, you didn't die. Running in clomiphene, again, it's a risk that 0.5% based on the clinical trials of the people could get, right? Deep vein thrombosis. So if you didn't get any issues yet and you stopped enclomiphene, then I don't think you're at risk. But feel free to check your platelet count, your D-dimer level, and your clotting factors, and your factor V Leiden, and everything else that has to do with coagulation. Make sure that you stay on top of your fish oil, vitamin E, and vitamin K supplementation. But yeah, if you ran that for 2 years and nobody made you aware of it, either shame on you or shame on them, because it's a pretty fucking big deal to me. That's why I don't run SERMs long term. In the most recent Q&A with Aaron Burr, Kurt Havens stated that aromasin can only suppress estradiol in 35% in men, but we have blood work demonstrating otherwise. Why would he make such a bogus claim? I don't know. It depends on the research that you've read. And again, you're only dependent on the research that you read. But, maybe he based that on a study or multiple studies. Now, I know that aromasin can crush estradiol even at very high dosages of testosterone use and androlone use and trestrolone use. So again, I'm not sure what Kurt said, and maybe you misinterpreted, or maybe he misinterpreted scientific evidence. That happens, we all make mistakes. But yeah, we all know that aromasin, letrozole, Arimidex has a dose-dependent reduction in estradiol levels. And, when I was on 2.5 grams a test, I was also taking 25 milligrams aromasin per day, and my estradiol was, 52? 55, whereas without it, I would say that my estradiol would be 500, which is more than a 35% reduction. That's 90% reduction. All right. So again, scientific evidence doesn't really play out in the real world when it comes to bodybuilding, because we take much higher dosages of everything and we take insane drug combinations. Our body fat levels are significantly lower. We combine it with diet testosterone derivatives like primabol, masterone, or boldenone, for example, not a DHT derivative, but it also suppresses aromatization. So again, there's a multitude of different factors, which just makes the scientific evidence is interesting, but not the end-all and be-all of what will happen in the real world. Given that a fighter, you can't take enough tests to increase hematocrit, could you do another EPO video on how not to kill yourself? I explained everything you need to know about EPO and how not to kill yourself in that erythropoietin video, but I cannot give you advice because people are fucking stupid. And when I say fucking stupid, I have to say fucking like 10 fucking times to give a slight indication of how fucking stupid people are. So there's certain drugs like insulin, for example, where you can't really do protocols publicly. The same as for EPO, because people will just end up killing themselves. So now, if you want an EPO protocol, schedule a consultation and I'll personalize it for you entirely. But no, these kinds of protocols you just don't do publicly. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So all the information is in the erythropoietin video regarding organ imaging and checking for your calcium score, checking for blocked arteries, making sure you have a hemoglobin meter at home, and then a therapeutic blood donation clinic close by. All the things to keep you safe are there, but the actual protocols, sorry, dude. Sorry, not sorry. Steve, what do you think about Curve Havens? What are you guys on about? Aromasin only suppresses E2 and is only prescribed to women, and men should use Arimidex as an AI for estrogen control. I don't agree with that, but again, I didn't watch the Q&A, so I'm not entirely sure what Kurt says. I used aromasin for a very long time because Arimidex, prevents a step in cholesterol metabolism and thus increases total cholesterol and LDL levels. So I would say that for your lipids, aromasin is a little bit safer, especially if you use higher dosages on a test-only cycle. And I've never really checked my estrone levels because, unfortunately, here at the Bria Labs, they don't really offer that service. They do total estrogens and estradiol, non-sensitive testing. So how much can you do with that? But specifically estrone, I didn't know. So I never checked estrone before and after. And yes, it's only prescribed to women, just like an Anadrol. It's only prescribed to women, but it's prescribed off-labelly for men in cookie-cutter TRT clinics. But some of the more renowned TRT clinics that are a little bit are up to date with scientific evidence and have some experience, they also use Arimidex or dinyl or calcium D-glucarate, which, you know, there's no scientific applications for dinyl and calcium D-glucarate as well. We know that it lowers estradiol levels, so you don't always have to go with scientific evidence. Because if we did, there would be no bodybuilding. And we're going to do the 600 milligram testosterone cycle from the Basin study. No exercise. Okay, where's the bodybuilding in that? Steve, is there naringin in acrylamide citrus bergamot? Is there any naringin in citrus bergamot? I don't think so. Or are you confused with bergamotin? Where is it? Citrus bergamot. All right, let's check the ingredients. All right, there's naringin in it. Okay. I don't know. I can't say that I got any more potency out of my oral steroids by taking citrus bergamot. If anything, from Gorilla Mind. I didn't know there was naringin in it. And I see that there's hesperidin in there as well, which can also, I think, also inhibit the cytochrome P450 enzymes. All I know is that it increases my HDL and lowers my LDL slightly on cycle, more so on TRT dosages. But I cannot say that, and we don't know the dosage, so may naturally contain naringin. So how much of that actually is naringin contained in the bergamot extract compared to the naringin, which is listed in the Cyclean PM in a milligram dose, I think. Let me check. Cyclean PM. Just because it contains something doesn't mean that it's enough to actually offer a difference. Yeah, so this contains, if you take the 3 capsule dose, 300 milligrams naringin and 280 milligrams hesperidin. So that's almost 500 or almost 600 milligrams in total, compared to 500 milligrams citrus bergamot per capsule, which you might take twice per day, with trace amounts of hesperidin and naringin. So I would say that that's not effective regarding cytochrome P450 enzyme inhibition. But yeah, the naringin, if you take 3 capsules of the Cyclean PM, that will be potent. That's more than you would get from half a grapefruit. Based on the ingredients and dose of MA carved, what would be the best protocol to assist with a cut? 1 milliliter before activity. So 1 milliliter before fasted cardio and 1 milliliter before the workout later in the day. Or again, if you're going to, if you do your workout first and then your cardio right after, you just take 1 cc because it's best to take it around activity because it helps with lipid mobilization. Have you heard of this new targeted EPO that only increases red blood cell production, not clotting factors? No, I have not. No, but I haven't looked into EPO in a while. So please write down what the exact EPO one is, because there's many new ones, and they all have funky names, which I don't remember. Guys and Co, what over-the-counter supplements are good for appetite suppression? Ozempic made me weak as fuck. Not sure if all GLP-1s are the same. And happy holidays. Okay. I don't know. Watch the video about fat burners that don't stimulate your heart rate. I mentioned all of the known appetite suppressants there. Right. So you have bromontane, Anadrol, phentermine, sibutramine. They all might increase heart rate though because they're stimulants. You have all the other GLP-1s in, you can try retatrutide, which has triple action, right? Glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonism, gastric inhibitory polypeptide receptor agonism, and glucagon receptor agonism. So maybe that doesn't make you weak as fuck, or maybe you just took too much, right? If you take too much, you can't eat. And if you can't take, if you don't eat, then you don't have the calories to go to the gym and train hard. So it's a balancing act where you get enough appetite suppression, but you can still eat enough food to have a good workout. And that usually happens with Ozempic at 0.25 milligrams to half a milligram 3 times per week. And with Richard's, it could be half a milligram to 1 milligram, even 1.66 milligram, where you end up at, 5 milligrams per week. So again, the combination medications you can probably run up at higher dosages because you get more of a dual action or triple action of several receptors. What Ozempic is just a GLP-1, and it's a lot of slowing of gastric emptying and appetite reduction. And maybe the dose is too high, causing you to not eat enough for you to have a good workout. But yeah, watch that video about non-stimulatory fat burners. I discuss all the appetite suppressions in there. High-dose growth hormone can suppress your appetite. Melanotan 2 can suppress your appetite, even though it can make you nauseous as well. Ketogenic diet, about a lot of vegetables with every meal, right? There's so many ways to suppress your appetite and have diet adherence. So, yeah, pick and choose what you want to do. Starting TRT, testosterone intake 125 milligrams, current test is 640 milligrams per week, and free testosterone is 1400. A kidney donor. What do you recommend for me? I'm concerned about a little about my kidney health and creatinine levels. What are your thoughts? I think you need to do what's best for you. You shouldn't ask me if you're a kidney donor. Then you have to make the decision if you want to limit or sacrifice or compromise your kidney health. Don't ask me. I can't make the decision for you. So do some research. Do a 24-hour urine collection test. Check your cystatin C levels in serum and compare them to urine cystatin C levels as well as serum creatinine and urine creatinine. Do an inulin clearance test. Do an ultrasound on your kidneys and then make the decision. Because I can't make the decision for you and I don't want to give you my thoughts influencing your decision. All right? So if you weren't a kidney donor and you cared about your own kidney, then I would say you have nothing to worry about. And if you're still worried, then you started something that you shouldn't, because you should have done research on what to expect. Connor, 6 times a night. 20 years ago, high school chemistry, my lab partner ate the methylene blue sample required for our experiment. This was against my advisement, but it turns out he was just ahead of his time. Okay. Yeah, it could be. Could be. I hope it was a milligram dose and not a milligram or a gram dose, making him turn into the blue man group. Blue collar bodybuilding. We have a celebrity here. I recognize the screen name. Hey, brother, just want to wish you a happy holiday. Also, thanks for the BBC protocol video for best dosing. Been helping me recover a burnt elbow, or bum elbow? Bum elbow. Very well. Okay, happy to hear that because, well, you can't really work out hard with a bum elbow or a broken elbow. Look into MA joints of steel. Might be able to help with the synovial fluid and the joint lubrication. And then you can just press those, 100-pound dumbbells, 120-pound dumbbells without issues, nice and slow, nice and deep, and no pain. And especially those Tate presses, right? These ones, or skull crushers, no pain, dude. So yeah, BPC 157, magic. Hey, Steve, how much creatine phosphokinase is considered too much? Well, it depends on how hard you train. So if you train fucking hard, 5,500, 6,000, I don't see a problem with that. But over 10,000, that's probably a rhabdomyolysis. And you have to combine that with the rest of your blood work, right? If your creatinine is over 2, and your creatine phosphokinase is over 10,000, and uric acid is super high, and you see your liver enzyme super high, yeah, that might be rhabdomyolysis. But if you see your creatine or creatinine in range, and your cystatin C in range, and your blood urea nitrogen, uric acid, and urea all in range, but your creatinine phosphokinase at 5,000, well, I hope you train like an animal, because it's perfectly normal for the guys that train hard. And of course, the doctor is going to shock, and then you just tell him, say, hey, bro, come here. If you don't want to be scared about my blood work results, how about you write me a script to check my CKMM, CKMB, and CKBB levels and get the different isoenzymes of the creatine phosphokinase coming from the brain, skeletal muscle, and the heart. And then let's see, you dumb fucking cookie cutter doctor, where the problem lies. And then bet him $100. Actually, bet him $1,000 and a blowjob. Let these cookie cutter doctors know. Yeah, you have heart failure. You're going to die. No, you fuck. It's coming from my skeletal muscle. And the amount of paranoid guys that I get for consultations. My doctor told me I'm in heart failure. And you look at the blood work and like, dude, you train. This fucker should have told you, and he should have seen it because you're obviously muscular. Well, that's just what we have to deal with when you're in healthcare, right? Mine is 2,100 reference range. Yeah, that's normal, dude. That's normal. Again, assuming that you train hard. If you're an old granny sitting at home all day, your creatine phosphokinase is 2,100 units per liter, you probably have kidney failure or rhabdomyolysis. But if you're a bodybuilder, this is not even high enough. If I see 2,000, it just shows me that you train like a fucking bitch. I hate to say it, but all the bodybuilders I know, all the guys with tremendous physiques, again, I'm just joking with your colleague. All the bodybuilders I know, all the guys with good physiques, they're at least 2,500, man. Elevated creatine phosphokinase is a badge of honor. Yeah, it should be high. Otherwise, you have no business taking the drugs. Even in naturals, I've seen it at 2,000. Hey, Steve, I tried to tell you about the largest collection of scientific articles ever put out together, but Super Chat will not allow it, but I send it in a regular message. Okay. Well, I won't be able to access it here, so just send it to me. Largest collectors of scientific articles ever put together. Okay. It's at what? Science Hub? Google Scholar? Send it to me on Instagram. Because here I won't be able to access the chat, and I'm not going to scroll through 2.5 hours of live stream. So please send it to me by Instagram. Best dose of injectable glutathione per week with 2 grams and acetylcysteine daily. I would say 1,800 milligrams injectable glutathione, either intravenously or 600 milligrams in a single shot intravenously, or 600 milligrams intramuscularly 3 times per week, maybe 4 times per week if you're really training hard, subjecting yourself to a lot of oxidative stress. But yeah, but beyond that, I don't think more is necessary. Patty Major, super sticker. All right, let me look out for your name to see if there's any question attached. Are you doing local or general anesthesia for your gyno surgery? I went to a top surgeon west coast of the USA that uses local. I was awake and was in excruciating pain, like being in a Saw movie. Yeah, I'll do a local because general anesthesia, you usually need a couple days to recover from that. And I'll have a buttload of work to do in January, even though I won't be going to the gym. So I'll do local. I'm going to one of the better cosmetic clinics here in Thailand. And again, if it hurts a lot, then I'll be able to tell them, you know? So we'll do liposuction first, going in from the elbow and then cut open the nipple, remove that, and then do some additional treatment to make everything nice and tight. All right, just like she likes it, and then fingers crossed I look a little bit more handsome than before. Even though I have to get rid of my lower back and my love handles because I did gain some chunk, and there's more chunk on the way by going on holiday to New Zealand. Good 50 milligrams Anadrol cause gyno and how to prevent it. Yes, you take the Anadrol out. And then the gyno goes away because Anadrol might interact with the estrogen receptor. And then when you take it out, Anadrol is gone in a couple days, which I don't even think you need a selective estrogen receptor modulator to prevent or to shrink the gyno afterwards, because once the Anadrol is metabolized, the symptoms of gynecomastia formation will go away. And again, roloxifene, even at the higher dose, will only shrink gyno by 50%. And as soon as you stop it, the gyno comes back because you have no longer, or fucking hell. You no longer have selective estrogen receptor blockade in place, for fuck's sake, man. Why did they make the medical terminology so difficult to pronounce? So how do you prevent gyno? By not taking drugs that are known to cause gyno, like nandrolone, trestolone, trenbolone in certain cases, Anadrol. You can combine, the aromatizing or gyno-causing compounds with mastrone or primobolan, which might be able to offset it by a certain extent because it has some DHT-like effects, and that testosterone has been shown to interact with the or inhibit estrogen-mediated gene transcription and inhibit the aromatase enzyme. So you might, some of the metabolites of primo or mastrone might be able to offer the same effect. Hasn't really been studied, but anecdotally and in the real world, we see similar effects. So if you want to prevent it, then stay away from compounds that cause gyno. It's that simple. Early question was an or question. Diet or berberine with larger meals or beaten hydrochloric peptide and betaine bitters with meals. Okay. It depends on what you want, man. A diet or berberine, I don't know. I read the scientific evidence. I'm not really going to say that it's better than regular berberine. Berberine always worked well. So berberine will increase, or diet or berberine will increase your insulin sensitivity. And betaine hydrochloride and pepsin and gentian bitters, or gentian bitters, will increase the stomach acidity and slow gastric emptying. So why would you not take both? Right? Just take both, dude. If you don't want to get fat, or if you don't want to get fat, then take both or eat better. It's just hard on holiday. Dan, I met Steve and he don't even remember. I remember you, Dan. Pervert. I remember you, Dan. I'll see you at the I'll sit right next to you at the Art of Classic Ohio. Let's see. Send me the story. There's a long list of words on the spam filter, so you don't have to keep trying. Yeah, or just send me a super sticker, and this, my Instagram is actually downstairs, so I won't have access to my phone. Sorry, guys. Don't send me anything on Instagram. I won't be able to read it because my phone is charging. I was at 5%. So, and again, you got to charge that shit. JR, been focusing on recovery after TRT started HCG at 500 IUs twice weekly. What adjustments or additional steps would you recommend for optimal progress? Started focusing on recovery. I don't know, sleep better, adding growth hormone, adding more HCG, and I don't exactly understand what your goals are. Started focusing on recovery. More protein, more healthy fats, more calories in general, better sleep, less sets to failure, more time, in between workouts, less pre-workout. I don't know, man. What adjustments or additional steps would you recommend for optimal progress? Increase your TRT dose, add growth hormone before bed, maybe TB500, BBC 157. I could throw the kitchen sink at you, but I'm not entirely sure what you're asking me here. Okay, Eduardo says he missed the zeros. So he was on 225 tests, NAT 175 VAR, so that's 25 milligrams per week for the guys who don't know math. And 175 milligrams injectable Winstrol, also 25 milligrams per day. For the guys who don't know math, again, low libido, low body fat, low SHBG made you suggest that I dropped all the DHTs, which I did. Thanks. Blood pressure was a plus. Okay, so his blood pressure, and now we got to scroll all the way up again, Eduardo. Here. 150 over 80 to 110 over 70. Yeah, that's pretty high. No, it's good that you stopped because your blood pressure increased a lot or improved a lot. And if you don't need, at 110 over 70, you probably don't need blood pressure medication. So you could stop that as well. So if you're on like 225 milligrams a test, where is it? 525. Now you're on a little bit higher dose. Yeah, just keep the blood pressure medication out and let your libido and SHBG come back. Eat a little bit more food, but not to the point you get fat. Enough food to make you wanna fuck. I don't have to get chunky, even though my libido is fucking great right now. Too bad I look completely unfuckable with my body fat levels. I can't even see my abs. Ew. Ew, disgusting. Where were we? Oh yeah. So yeah, let your body fat levels come up, and then I'm sure your libido and your SHBG will come up as the Anavar and injectable Winstrol and the Primo is coming out. So your blood pressure is now good, and if you don't need blood pressure medication to keep your blood pressure good, then less drugs is better. Chase Irons, or whatever, Dan. Everybody remembers you. Everybody remembers Dan, man. Dan is the man. I found Preneal works as potent as an antiprolactin. Would taking methylene blue while taking 2.5 milligrams. I don't know what deep preneal is. So can't really help you there, buddy. Sorry. Super chats from Blue Collar Bodybuilding. Much appreciated, bro. Last week I mentioned I had great success with MOTS-c, SLU, methylene blue, SS39, and 5-amino-1-MQ in a post. Show rebound, been leaner, and I grow amazing. But would NAD plus also help with the mitochondrial stack? Yeah, it would help with energy levels. But honestly, since I started the MOTS-c, SLU, and methylene blue, I haven't taken NAD plus because I didn't feel a difference in that stack. And NAD plus is kind of pricey, even though MOTS-c and SLU is already priced, or MOTS-c and SLU is already pricey. So basically, for the same price as MOTS-c and SLU, maybe even a little bit cheaper, you would spend the same on that as about 100, maybe 200 milligrams NAD plus, depending on how you source it. And I would rather go with MOTS-c and SLU than NAD plus. Especially if you're already 5-amino-1-MQ, then obviously you get NAD plus for cycling because 5-amino-1-MQ inhibits or prevents NAD plus breakdown in adipose tissue. So you already get more elevated NAD plus levels in adipose tissue, which will not spill over to skeletal muscle. But I think the mitochondrial support that you get from MOTS-c, SLU, methylene blue, and SS31, even though I think you can take that out also, I think that's enough. So I would, in this stack personally, and even though I'm fucking NAD plus and mitochondrial agent junkie, personally, in this stack, I would only run MOTS-c, SLU, and 5-amino-1-MQ and forgo, and methylene blue, and forgo the SS31 and the NAD plus. Yeah, but maybe add injectable glutathione to help mitigate oxidative stress, even though the methylene blue is already good at that. I did feel that the glutathione was a worthy addition based on the texture of my skin. So how much you can take from that, I don't know. Effectiveness of 5-amino-1-MQ, oral versus injectable, which I've used. I've only used oral, and it worked as I would expect. I've never seen a source carry injectable. I think the oral availability is the highest 5-amino-1-MQ out of all the N-methyltransferase or nicotinamide N-methyltransferase inhibitor, NNM, yeah, nicotinamide N-methyltransferase inhibitors. I think this one has the highest oral bioavailability. 20% was that? It was the highest out of all the ones that they tried. And I can't remember what the percentage was, if they even listed that, because again, it's animal studies. So give injectable a try, see if it makes a difference. You know, some people swear by the injectable SR9009 or injectable GW1516 or injectable YK11. So if you want to do even more shots, then feel free, man. What do you think about the UGL stuff offered by AP? I don't know which brands he offers, so I'd have to check. I would have to check. I don't know. I don't know which brand he offers. Hey, Steve, my current cycle, 250 tests, 250 primo, 100 trends going well regarding blood work, except for SHBG crash way below the reference range is 9. Any ways to boost it? On this cycle, no. You're just going to have to deal with it. You could try HCG. That will bring it up to maybe 11, but it will also increase your estrogen slightly. Thyroid hormones, T3 could increase it by a couple points. That's about it, man. I have a deep dive on SHBG, but if you're on cycle with Primo and Tren, it will just be single digit. It's just the unfortunate reality of it. That's why we don't stay on high dose cycles for longer periods of time. Or you need to let your estrogen run wild and maybe take T4 and T3 to keep it somewhat elevated. But even then, it will be 15 at maximum. And again, selective estrogen receptor modulators, which will really increase it, not sustainable. Free Uncle Steve, good to see Super Chat Abel. Yes. Yeah, how much money did I lose last week by not checking those boxes? I'm losing sleep just thinking about it, but I got a very good entry at Bitcoin. Where are we now? It seems to be bouncing. Hopefully we can close the week over 99,000. And that would be bullish. But if we stay below the trend, then there might be more corrections coming in. Let's see what happens to the stock market next week. Man, it was a bit fat dump. I bought it the lower trend line. Where was it? At let's say 99,000. And then I got stopped out. Then where did I buy? Let's see. I think I bought it like 97 or something, and then I got stopped out. And then it really crashed to 92, or yeah, 92. And then I got in at around 94. So we're not that much higher. Yeah, and I lost a couple thousand on every liquidation, every stop loss. It hurt. But in the end, I have more Bitcoin than what I started with. And that's the goal for now. So yeah, even though we didn't get any super chats last week, I think I made up for it with some intelligent trading. Let's see. Yeah, already answered this. Thank you for your endless knowledge. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So, but I'm trying to keep up. Oh, it's ETN ITTP. I thought it was already live, but I guess not. So probably next month, but it is on the way. Recommended dosing schedule is, let's say, what was it? 250 milligrams. Man, I have to check my notes. It's somewhere in the endurance deep dive. This is a dosing protocol that I don't know off the top of my head. I think it was 250 milligrams per day until you notice the nootropic benefits. So that's usually for 2 to 3 weeks. And then you go to 100 milligrams maybe 3 times a week, give or take. It's been a while since, yeah, I can't remember. It's somewhere in the endurance deep dive video series. I can find that in my recommendations. Like some of these protocols I know off the top of my head, and other ones I just can't fucking remember because I barely recommend them. And then when I recommend them, I go through my notes and then we go to adjustments based on feedback. Let's see. NTPP. Sure, I can find it somewhere in my email. Nope. One second. Here we are. Oh, that's data. Okay. 100 milligrams to 250 milligrams once to 2 times daily. So that's between 100 milligrams to 500 milligrams total daily for the loading phase. And then 100 milligrams Monday, Wednesday, Friday once the nootropic and endurance benefits are noticeable. Yeah, so it could be, usually it's about 2 to 3 weeks before you notice an effect. And I would just start with 250 milligrams daily. And then run that for 2 or 3 weeks. And once you get that oxygenation feeling and an increase in stamina, I would just drop the dose because then all you need to do is maintain the new hemoglobin that's being produced in the red blood cells with their myoinositol tripyrophosphate for the increased oxygen affinity. Right, so the maintenance dose is pretty low, and it's a very nice compound, but it's been a while since I ran it because it's fortunately it was not easy to source, and the sources that I got it from are a little bit dodgy. But I'm happy to announce that MA will eventually host it, and then I will definitely source it from MA because, yeah, that is reputable and reliable. Steve, I don't want to pin. I've bought nicotinamide mononucleotide and methylene blue and cardarine for fat loss. Is this stack good, and would you recommend something else that don't require pinning for fat loss? Actually, for fat loss, you don't need to pin anything. Maybe L-carnitine with myoinositol tripyr. No, not myoinositol tripyrophosphate. L-methionine, L-inositol, and L-choline. So forget the injectable carnitine. You can take oral carnitine. You can take mirabegron orally. It's a new and enhanced version of clenbuterol, basically, that doesn't stimulate your heart rate. But even nicotinamide mononucleotide and methylene blue will not cause any direct fat loss unless you're in a caloric deficit. It will just keep your energy levels high. But cardarine will cause fat loss. So in this stack, for increased endurance, increased fat loss, and increased energy levels in a caloric deficit, look into clenbuterol, look into mirabegron, not together, either or. Look into yohimbine, look into Another stimulant to suppress your appetite could be bromontane, could be Adderall, could be phentermine, could be sibutramine. Again, if you don't want to inject GLP-1s, then you're going to have to go with the stimulatory stimulatory appetite suppressant. Jesus fucking Christ, it's been a long day. Yeah, and otherwise, watch that fat burner stack, man. There's a boatload of suggestions in there. Jeff said it perfectly. You don't want to pin, then you don't want the results. True. Quit being a puss, says Chase. Chase knows, man. Yeah, what can you do? All right. First time using growth hormone, started 2 IUs for the first 3 days, then upped it to 4 IUs nightly before bed. It's been 4 weeks on 4 IUs nightly, hands go numb. Now it wakes me up out of my sleep. Suggestion, big dog. Well, you increased after 3 days. You sound impatient as fuck. So go back to 2 IUs until the numbness goes away, and then stand 2 IUs for 2 to 3, 4 weeks, maybe 8 weeks, and then increase to 3 IUs. Manage your electrolyte intake, manage your taurine intake, manage your water intake. Maybe take an angiotensin receptor blocker or sodium glucose transporter type 2 inhibitor to manage the water balance. Follow a diet where your electrolyte intake and your water intake and your carbohydrate intake is consistent. And live the fucking lifestyle, and then you shouldn't get these side effects even if you go up to 18 IUs per day, but you have to build it up slowly. So again, you're probably not living the lifestyle, and you probably got impatient. And there's cures for that. I take 120 grams gelatin. Do I need collagen? Damn, that's a lot. That's really a lot. I take 20 grams of collagen per day, 30 grams in training days, 20 grams on rest days. I don't know, give it a try. But I think you get a boatload of what is it? Collagen from the gelatin in anyway, but gelatin just has a different amino acid composition. I think collagen has more glycine than gelatin on a milligram for milligram basis. But if you eat this much gelatin, you probably get a boatload of glycine in anyway. All right, let's scroll down a little bit. Mike Freeman. Sir, hope you're well. Taking full 10 days off from the gym workout, first time in over 6 months. Deserve extra recovery. Any tips for the Christmas day offs? What's Big Steve protocol in this situation? Just fucking relax, man. I used to take it so serious, and now I don't. I'm just going to go on my Christmas holiday. I'm not going to train, or maybe if I do a workout, it will just be a pump workout. I'm going to eat whatever the fuck I want, and then I'll deal with it in January. Honestly, dude, I miss so many Christmas enjoyment when I was just hardcore bodybuilding. I only cared about my physique, so I would prepare meals or not eat, certain food choices that were available to the dismay and annoyment of my family, and I just don't want to fucking do it anymore. I just don't fucking want to do it anymore, dude. I went to college, right? My mom prepared like an early Christmas dinner with my family. So I had my sister there and their kid, and my dad there, and my other sister from my dad's second marriage, and my mom there. And we were there, 6 of us, right? We were doing like teppanyaki grill on the home grills. It was a complete fucking mess. And I just ate everything that my mom made. And you know what? I have no regrets. Even though the next day I felt bloated, and the next day I felt fat, and I felt constipated, and I had the nastiest poops. It really was nasty because I ate all this food that I normally don't eat. Right? My mom made like a cheese platter, all different kinds of cheeses, and garlic. What is it called? Garlic butter for the bread. And the thing I'll remember is that my mom had a good time making that food, and I had a good time eating all the food. And that's what Christmas is all about. So we had an early Christmas dinner. Then I'll have another Christmas dinner in New Zealand with my best friend who lives there. And I'm going to eat whatever the fuck is being served. And if it makes me fat, I don't care. Because there's more to life than bodybuilding. There's more to life than being shredded. Sometimes you got to be a good friend or a good son and just shut the fuck up and eat the fucking food. So you take 10 days off from the gym, get your extra recovery in, eat all the Christmas food that your family makes, shut the fuck up, deal with it like a man, because your parents don't give a shit about your bodybuilding and your abs and your muscles, but they care about you having a good time. So you better behave and be a good boy and eat everything and bring some fucking presents to them also. Yeah, which I did. Yeah, yeah. And I stuffed some money down my dad's pocket. And when he got uncomfortable, it was great. I can't take this. Yes, you can. Sit on it on the drive home. It's just sitting like this. Thank God for crypto, man. Can do all that thing. Oh, I love it. Anyway, just fucking enjoy it, man. Christmas is there to be enjoyed. Because when you live far away from your friends and far away from your family, you don't get many days together. And again, you don't want to ruin those days with your stupid bodybuilding aspirations. Is 500 IU's HCG enough to restore testicular function and sperm health, or should I adjust? Well, a single shot of 500 IU's HCG is probably not enough, but if you do it 3 times per week, sub-Q, then after 3 to 4 months, I think you're going to be happy with the results. But don't worry, the video on how to get your wife pregnant is in development. That should drop in January, and they will teach you everything you need to know about fertility, getting it back, and loading up your partner with copious amounts of semen. And then depending on her age and her vitality, she might get pregnant or not. Yeah, we had to do IVF, but we tried naturally for a year, man. Which I got a lot of nookie, but it felt like a job. Baby, I'm ovulating. You don't have to do it today. Then you reluctantly get your dick hard on HCG monotherapy. It's not true. But the biggest mistake I made is that I tried to stay in shape during HCG monotherapy. So I basically was low androgen levels and then low calories. What I should have done is just should have gotten fat. Oh well. Hindsight. Chase and friends at the Arnold Classic. Hell yes. We'll have a booth and all the Chase Irons and friends will be there. Maybe we'll have some more friends. So let's see. But it's Chase is ultimately the one who invites his friends. So there'll be maybe some friends of friends, but not like extended friends. But then again, the Arnold Classic is public, so we don't know who shows up. Maybe some haters will show up. Well, my crew is probably bigger than yours. So be ready. Paul Harris. Steve, currently on 400 Cystanon, 500 Primo, 25 milligrams pregnenolone per day, 25 milligrams DHA per day, 6 use GH split morning and evening. Last month, blood pressure has gone to 140 over 100. Last check, is this Primo, you think, or worried about my blood pressure? I don't know, dude. It could be the Primo. It could be your estrogen. I mean, if you're taking 400 tests and 500 Primo, your estrogen should be in range with this much DHA and pregnenolone. But then 6 IU's growth hormones late morning and evening can make you hold water. So if your estrogen is high and you hold water from the growth hormone, then yes, your blood pressure will go up. So check your estrogen levels, see if your electrolyte intake and your taurine intake and all that stuff, water intake is consistent. And if you're doing everything right, then maybe it's just time for an angiotensin receptor blocker because you are on a gram of stuff and 6 IU is a growth hormone. And sometimes you can't control your blood pressure without an angiotensin receptor blocker or a beta blocker or angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, an ACE inhibitor, right? Lisinopril, for example. So do the blood work. Check what's off, and if there's nothing off, then it's just time for a blood pressure medication. There's no shame in that. Many people use a blood pressure medication. Oh, so blue collar bodybuilding has been using the injectable 5-amino-1-MQ. Haven't tried an oral yet. So far, so good. Can't compare to oral since it's neon red after reconstitution. Yeah. 5-amino-1-MQ is neon red, just like ubiquinol or coenzyme Q10. So I was running MA injectable coenzyme Q10, and that was quite a performance boost, but it kind of crashes sometimes. So but when I turn on the air conditioning, it's blowing right into my steroid drawer, and then over time the temperature goes down, so it crashed, and you have to warm it up old school style with running it under hot water. But yeah, that was also neon red. So I wonder what the combination of 5-amino-1-MQ and injectable ubiquinol or coenzyme Q10 would do. Will be good for energy levels, but I think it will turn you into a flamingo over time. All those pigments. I'm buying the dip. Yeah, I bought it heavy, man. I didn't go all in yet. Um, I made a good trade on the altcoins because what is it, Ripple and Hedera, they were pretty strong during this dip. So I moved some money into there, and then they recovered almost higher than they were before the dip. But let's see what happens now. It's kind of stagnating. It's weekend. I would like to see a Bitcoin close over 99,750 right now. And it wouldn't surprise me if it starts tanking. And then I'm all out, and then I'll wait for lower. Now the price doesn't really matter what the P&L says right now. It's just about acquiring more Bitcoin. And then, but what I'm worried about is that the DXY went up and the S&P broke down. And the global liquidity hasn't really started yet. But then again, it could just be like everybody's on social media right now, and they're all expecting like a Christmas rally. So, right, the market makers, they try to enforce as much pain, especially in the crypto space because they have so many ETFs right now. So, enforcing the most pain would be not to give us a Christmas rally, let the price come down during Christmas, and then somewhere like the first week of January that it starts rallying, where they can acquire another 100,000 Bitcoin from, us, the poor folk. So yeah, let's see, man. So you got to trade all options. Right now, it broke through the downwards resistance from 108 to 92. All right, it broke through. It tested support, or it tested resistance as support, but the overall parallel channel didn't get back into the overall channel, which is now at 99,700, 800. Yeah, let's see. Well, for all the guys that don't know trading, I probably think I'm talking in gibberish. Ugh. Something to learn, man. You got to put your money somewhere that appreciates. Devin, what would happen? What would you recommend for a bucket handle tear in a superior bucket handle tear in the superior labrum? Bucket handle tear. Bucket handle. Where the fuck is that? Ooh. Google Images has made me lose my appetite. Where the fuck is this? Is this in the knee? Shoulder? Is this a shoulder? Some of you guys stump me to shit, man, with these questions. Steve knows everything. No, I don't. No, I don't, guys. Yeah, if it's a tear right there, you probably, I don't know, man. I don't know how severe it is. Maybe you need an MRI to determine how severe it is if you need surgery. And otherwise, watch the video series about how to recover from these kinds of injuries. Because the answer is always the same. It's 1 milligram TB500, 1 milligram BBC 157, ideally 500 micrograms of each, injected as close to the site of injury as possible twice per day, in combination perhaps with a dipeptidyl peptidase 4 inhibitor to prevent the breakdown of these healing compounds. Then you inject 2 IU's growth hormone at the same time. Maybe take MPK 677 before bed to get the broad spectrum of different isoforms of growth hormone. GHK copper or palmitate GHK topically at the site of the incision if you did surgery. And then copious amounts of collagen and hyaluronic acid and vitamin C to provide the building blocks for recovery. And then you stimulate that with the testosterone and Anavar. So again, the answer is always the same. That's exactly what I'm going to do after my gyno surgery. But it really depends on the severity of the tear if you need reconstructive surgery. And because again, those tendons are not magically going to grow together. Don't watch too much X-Men. You're not Wolverine or Deadpool. Real humans need surgery for that shit. Oh, Chase said I'll be getting some ITPP from MA this week. Okay, well, then I better contact them that I need some too, for fuck's sake. I'll be able to run that in February, unfortunately, because I'll be out of commission in January, that's for sure. Hey, Professor Steve. Professor Vigorous, potassium levels 4.7, range 5.4. Should I be concerned if I run telmisartan with these levels of potassium? Well, it depends on how hydrated you were, because you're in the middle of the reference range, so I wouldn't worry about that. If you were sufficiently hydrated and you're in the middle of the range, then you would be able to add in telmisartan and see marginal changes in your potassium levels. Also depends on your potassium intake. So, with the limited information I have, I say you don't have to worry. Sub coach, do you see any issues with mixing GH, HK, copper, BPC, TB? Yeah, again, don't mix all these compounds in the same vial because they might have binders or preservatives or whatever that would denature the peptides of BPC 157 or TB 500 or growth hormone, which are all pricey, like GHK, copper. Okay, whatever. It's only three peptides, right? It's glycine, histidine. The other one. Shit, dude. I thought I knew it. Why do I get Dragon Ball Z characters? Why do I get French Wikipedia page? What the hell? Copper peptides. Glycyl, histidyl, and lysine. Why is it not called GHL? Okay, glycyl, histidyl, and lysine. So that's only three peptides with copper attached. And let's see. So that I wouldn't worry about denaturing too much because the peptide chain is not that much. But BBC, TB500, and growth hormone, yeah. I would inject them all separately. And another one is growth hormone, TB. Yeah, don't mix them. Another one, testosterone, NPP. That you can do because testosterone and NPP are just molecules, not peptides. They can be broken down through denaturing compounds. If anything, it's broken down into nandrolone away from the phenylpropionate and testosterone away from the enanthate, which is an enzymatic reaction. So I've injected testosterone, nandrolone in the form of nandrolone decanoate and tristlone acetate, all together in the same syringe. No fucking problem, even in different carrier oils. No issues, right? The castor oil, grapeseed oil, and MCT oil, all fine. But these peptides, I wouldn't mix together. Yeah, but not if you want to inject carnitine alongside vitamin B12, sure. But peptides, no. Chase says the booth is 20 times 10 instead of 10 to 10, so more space to chill. Yeah, so we'll probably do like a full lounge, a little fireplace and I don't know, microwave, and maybe a cigar lounge or something. You probably can't smoke at the Arnold Classic. But fuck, man, I checked the weather. It looks like it's going to be freezing over there. Shit. Ugh. Well, guess I'm going to have to suffer. Stephen Qualls. All right, I'll be looking for your name. I don't see a super chat. Mike Freeman, somehow I knew your advice would use just don't give a fucking enjoy. Gonna be 44 next year. Just want to enjoy, maybe add a water. Wait, add some fast walking in the evening and back work in the morning on an empty stomach. Yeah, go for it, man. I'm gonna be doing some sightseeing, nothing crazy. Again, my wife's pregnant, so we're not going to be climbing any mountains in New Zealand. But yeah, we'll be walking a lot, sightseeing, doing some stuff, and I'm just gonna eat, man. So like there's more to life. And if you get fat, okay, you died for a while. No big fucking deal. I lose all my self worth when I don't have abs. So I don't make any money if I don't have abs. Shit. Just fucking eat. Ryan Yates, appreciate you, Steve. I put a few non-important questions in, whether answered or not. I appreciate you, man. You've made my life quite healthier. Really? Where did you? Non-important questions. Where are they? Don't just send me $10. Send me a question. Oh, here we are. Let me see. Are you the guy asking for Anavar only cycles? Then I don't have an answer, bro. Anavar only. You're gonna do. If you ask me about Anavar only, then it's he's 24. Again, guys, if you want to ask me a question in the super chat, just put it together because otherwise I spent all of my time scrolling through the chat, and we only have 2.5 hours to do this every week. So Ryan, send me a question if there is one. But if it's about Anavar only, then I'm gonna have to ban you, and I'll take it $10. All the same. Ha! All right, where are we? Oh, we're almost at the bottom. Still no euphoria in the markets. We're talking about cryptocurrency here. We're climbing higher and higher month after month, yet the fear is strong. I think everybody has PTSD from the previous cycles, as do I, because I'm eager to sell. I'm eager to sell, dude, and I'm eager to sell to wait for lower prices. Now, luckily, at this point, I have multiple trades going at the same time, right? But when you start, you don't have. You maybe have, $10,000 in the market, which is already a lot. And how can you split that up? Like $10,000 trades doesn't really make it exciting. But if you have multiple trades of decent entries, then then you're talking. But again, you make a percentage based on your entry. And if every entry gives you 10% and then you sell based on the trends of the markets, then it's pretty fucking good. When Big Don gets into the office, we might be getting foam. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if you go sideways until the middle of January. Because when the last time, the orange man took office, cryptocurrency bumped for an entire year. Holy shit. Holy shit did it pump. When the senile guy took office, the guy that shouldn't have taken office, you pump a little bit, you like a half one, and then a down one, like 6 months like this, and then a little way, and then everybody's like, double top. No, 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 no. 69,000, man, that's the highest. Anyway, let's not go into politics again. Might get cancelled. Zionic, thank you for a great 2024 and all of your help and guidance, making such a positive impact. Remember your daily fasted cardio, everyone. Yes, daily fasted cardio, man, makes all the difference. Joel, I got you your fucking this the competitive eater Joel Hansen, by the way. Enjoy New Zealand. I should meet up with you before you go to New Zealand because I got you two kinds of British what is it called? Mustard. Ask Joel, what do you want from UK? Say I need mustard. So I brought you two different kinds. I hope you enjoy them. Let's maybe tomorrow. Let me shoot you a message on IG. I'll be going to the same place that I had sushi with you. So yeah, maybe before, during, or after, or something like that. We'll figure it out. Otherwise, I can send it by Grab Taxi. It'll be the first food item I sent by Grab Taxi. I usually send other stuff with Grab. Well, if you know, you know. What do you think about the fuck it cycle? High Anadrol and Tren for muscle growth. Paul and Kurt mentioned it to me. Any dosage ideas? I know, as much as you can afford. No, as much as you can tolerate. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But then again, dude, I reached like critical mass in this last cycle. I woke up like 121 kilos. Of course, I'm not lean, right? Now, all you guys are way leaner. Like Paul is lean, Kurt is lean, you're lean. I just gain body fat. It doesn't matter if I'm on 100 calorie more or 500 calories more. So I'd rather gain the body fat than just grow a little bit faster. And again, most of my fat accumulation occurred when I was in the United States because I ate like a fucking asshole. I can't control myself on holiday. It's just I don't do that anymore. I go on holiday to enjoy the country, which includes the food. Used to be the food and the women, but well, when you're married, it's just the food. So yeah, you overcompensate with the food. So I actually got leaner. But yeah, I got pretty big on nandrolone, Anadrol, Tristalone, and YK11. And honestly, I think that Anadrol combination with YK11 and Tren, I think you'd be like fucking hard as a rock. Yeah. I think if you added some YK11, I'm pretty impressed with this YK11. It's like the hardness and density and the strength of Superdrol. Again, I combined it with Anadrol. So take it all with a grain of salt. But the hardness and density, it's not like Anadrol, man. It feels like Superdrol. But the liver toxicity was non-existent, right? And my liver enzymes were 80 or something, and it's mostly training related. So, yeah, maybe do high Anadrol, a little bit of YK11 and Tren, and high growth hormone. Fuck, I think you look like a rock. I felt a little bit uncomfortable at the end. Yeah. Yeah, I was fat. Joel Hansen. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, my pleasure, dude. No worries. I smuggled it all the way from UK back to Thailand. Anti-mustards over here. No, it's not true. Another word, Dad Coach, what's the recommended level of B12 and iron in general? Good to see you're in a good mood. Yeah, and then now that I'm off the train, I'm in a good mood again. I don't know, B12, slightly out of the reference range if you're taking B supplements, and iron in the middle of the reference range. That's usually good. I did send a super chat right after my question. Oh, really? Okay, so here's your super chat. Ah, here it is. Again, put them together. Huh? Yeah, works better that way. Now you're like talking about it, but you're not delivering. Well, no more innuendo for this Vigorous Q&A. Stephen Qualls asks, 125 milligrams testosterone cypionate, 100 milligrams testosterone propionate, 100 milligrams primo, 125 milligrams Anadrol decanoate. Is that per week or per day? Anyway, SHBG is 16, HCG is 250 IOs 3 times per week. Best options to raise SHBG. I think your SHBG is high enough. You can increase your HCG to 500 IOs 3 times per week. And again, maybe 100 micrograms T4 and 25 micrograms T3. Those are your best options. Again, if you want to bring it up temporarily, you could look into selective estrogen receptor modulators like tamoxifen. Has some anti-estrogen effects. But then again, you kind of defeat the purpose of increasing your HCG and running DECA with your cycle. And you Turkesterone and ecdysterone. You might get a couple points. But honestly, dude, with an SHBG of 16, I don't think you're going to move the needle regarding libido or anabolism if you increase it to 20. So I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks for the $10. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, man. Like where was my SHBG in my last cycle? 500 tests, 500 DECA. I forgot. Let me look into my own video. Somehow, some way, my estradiol was only 105 picograms per milliliter. Sex hormones. My SHBG was. Steve, stop talking, dude. Give me the sex hormones. Every time I record a blood work video, it's like, I'm going to do it fast. And then my wife does the pre-edit. She's like, it's 50 minutes. Fuck. Yeah, my SHBG was 8. So I went from 20 to 8 when I was running 1.5 grams of gear. And my libido was great. My anabolism was great. Look how fucking juicy I look in that video. Strong as an ox. So yeah. Right? SHBG is not everything. But it can help you kind of determine what's going on. Will you be entering short positions when the market starts reversing? BTD shorts give me very good finding every 8 hours. If you hold too short, yeah, I'll probably, once the market starts reversing, again, if you get a double peak, I'll just trade on the way down. But it'll be with smaller entries, not full bags. And then again, I might ladder in as it goes down, or when it breaks the trend line, I might go up. So you might be entering at 5% of the bottom or 7% of the bottom. And then you'll sell at the 20-week moving average. Just to crash the market higher or lower. So instead of using the 8-week moving average or the 20-week moving average as support, where's the 8-week moving average now? Did it break? Didn't even touch it, dude. I don't have the 8-week on this. Wait. Style, visibility, inputs, 8. Yeah, it did touch it. Yeah, it did bounce off the 8-week moving average. I didn't get in at the 8-week moving average. Literally touched it. Anyway, so instead of using 8-week moving average as support, you use it as resistance. So if it's like 20%, 30%, 40% off from the 8-week or 20-week moving average, then you start laddering in. And then you short shit out of it when it's at 20 at the 20-week or 8-week moving average, depending on the buying, the selling pressure. And again, you could ladder out, when it hits the 20-week or the 8-week, depending what comes first, right? It's a longer moving average. So at one point, the 8-week is going to dip below the 20-week. So yeah, I'm going to short when it gets very far from the bull market resistance band. When it gets very far, I'm just going to ladder in, and then I'm going to sell as soon as it reaches it. And then a short shit out of it until we're 1 year post, Bitcoin peak, and then I'm going to go all in again, which is probably going to be what, 30,000 or something, give or take. Again, based on when there will probably be a fat liquidation around 30,000, because I think that will be the average price of a Bitcoin regarding the mining fees for electricity. So you have some websites where they have the entire map of the world, and then you can see the mining fees for each country. So some countries right now are like around $35,000 per one Bitcoin. Some are cheaper, some are higher. Of course, in the higher countries, people are not going to mine because it's not reasonable. But if you take the average price of how much electricity costs to mine what Bitcoin, that's usually the bottom price. Because the miners have to liquidate, or they start buying, right? They sold the top, and they have all this extra USDT or USDC, and like, why would the fuck would we mine a Bitcoin when we can buy it OTC at spot or from, whatever exchanges for a price that's below the mining fees? And then all the miners are going to think like that, including myself. Say, well, this is a bargain because mining is more expensive, So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go all in. And will it go lower? Probably. But it will only be temporarily lower, and that's when you mortgage your house. You don't mortgage your house now. It's too late to mortgage your house. Now you just DCA in. Do you have any opinions regarding the big discrepancy between systolic and diastolic blood pressure? I'm usually around 125/65. So if there's a big discrepancy between systolic and diastolic blood pressure, that means that your heart is contracting very forcefully, and that's why the systolic blood pressure is higher. So in that case, you need to manage your electrolyte intake and maybe go on a beta blocker to bring that systolic blood pressure down to kind of match your diastolic. But 125/65 sounds like a normal range to me, man. It's actually very good. It's similar to mine. Omar asks, does the length of a syringe matter for BBC TB500 pinning near the chest or knee? Now, usually sub-Q is enough because you're never going to really get it as close to the site of injury. And of course, if it's like right inside the shoulder joint or the knee joint, then none of us are capable to inject directly into it. So I would just do a sub-Q as close as you can get for comfort, and then maybe rotate around the area. Again, most of it will go systemic. Some of it will disperse and activate the receptors locally. And what percentage is that? Not entirely sure. Not entirely sure. But it seems to work quite well if you inject it locally. Game theory optimal. All right. Steve, I sent a super chat above, but the question didn't enter. Is it possible to maintain optimal semen parameters using HCG from the start and only running tests at 200 milligrams per week? I think you will still get lower motility and morphology purely from the oxidative stress because your testosterone levels are super physiological, and you might be able to mitigate that with injectable glutathione. But from all of the blood work that I've seen, or all the semen analysis that I've seen, on TRT, even with HCG, fertility parameters are subpar. Now, if you add in follicle-stimulating hormone, your fertility parameters will improve. If you add in something like injectable glutathione, or at least N-acetylcysteine, taurine, selenium, again, I'll discuss all of this in the video about how to get your wife pregnant. But I will still recommend everybody to come off. To have less oxidative stress to the Y chromosome, so you have higher chances of getting a boy. Again, I'll discuss all of that there as well because it's a huge tangent, and I still have a lot of preparation to do with scientific evidence. So please don't bug me when it's done. It's done when it's fucking done. And if you keep bugging me, you're gone. So if you want the highest fertility parameters on HCG, you need HCG, 500 IUs to 1,000 IUs 3 times per week, FSH, 75 IUs 3 times per week to every day, and then 600 milligrams injectable glutathione intramuscularly Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then plenty of taurine, plenty of selenium for your diet, a load of carnitine, enough zinc, enough magnesium, all the supplements that help with testicular function. And even then, morphology and motility might not be as it was when you were drug-free, but will it be enough to get your partner pregnant, assuming she's under 35? Very likely. I mean, I've heard guys doing TRT and HCG getting their partner pregnant just by looking at them, but they're probably in their most fertile years, let's say between 21 to 25. All right, then it's easy. Your fertility parameters can be absolute trash when your partner is 25, which is 35 or 40. Now it's going to be more difficult. My fertility parameters were absolutely fucking godlike. And after 1 year of trying naturally, doing everything right, or at least we thought we were doing everything right, it just didn't happen. So we decided to go with IVF. Again, thank God for Bitcoin, because the whole entire thing only cost me at the time half a Bitcoin. Now it would cost me 0.3 Bitcoin, even less, 0.25. Yeah. Wait a bit for the timestamps. The question will be there. Oh yeah, people are impatient, dude. Don't cater to them. Volk, Steve, your content has helped us greatly. We really appreciate it too. Do you like weightlifting? Snatch, clean, and jerk. I like snatch. I like jerk also. Only if somebody else does it. And I like them to be clean. Come on, you know this was coming. I never done weightlifting in my fucking life. We have a couple weightlifters at the Muscle Factory that are always there. It looks impressive, but what I don't like about weightlifting is that they slam the bar. Right? They do what is probably clean jerk over your head, and then they just drop the bar, and they do that like 1,000 times, and I can hear it through my earphones. It's like a dog barking in the street, and after a while, I'm like, you know. Then again, I grunt like a fucking maniac, so I'm sure they're annoyed with this as well. So I guess we're even. But I've never done weightlifting, but if you like weightlifting, then by all means, man, do the snatch, do the clean and the jerk, and all the ancillary work that you need to do to make those snatches and cleans and jerks the best lifts that you have, and enjoy yourself. Because whatever I like and don't like has no effect on you. You need to do what you like for your life to be enjoyable. Because fuck, if I listen to other people, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, man. I went to Holland, tried to explain about cryptocurrency and the YouTube channel, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Steve, how do you make your money? Yeah, I trade the digital asset. There's no real world practical application besides buying drugs. And I make money on YouTube talking about steroids. And they're like, what? Shouldn't you get a job? Yeah, I should get a job. Yeah. HB17, subcu or intramuscular for testosterone and primo, TRT dosages. Whatever you prefer. I would do subcu, but if you want to go with IM, go with IM. Again, it depends on what you prefer. I went purely subcu because I don't like the scar tissue in my glutes, and I finally got rid of that. But now I got, some scar tissue in my subcutaneous space on my glutes from doing all those shots, which would otherwise be in my glutes, right? But then you wouldn't feel it. So you're doing damage to your body by injecting shit multiple times per day over a decade or 15 years or 20 years. There's just no way around it, man. There's no way around it. Hey, Steve, glad to have you back. Any tips on preventative measures to mitigate risks of blood clot when taking raloxifene? Yeah, just don't take it. Just don't fucking take it. Sure, you can combine it with nattokinase and vitamin E and vitamin K and fish oil and baby aspirin and angiotensin receptor blockers or ACE inhibitors to dilate your arteries or beetroot or whatever the fuck you want. I wouldn't fucking risk it. I just don't want to fucking risk it. I'd rather do the surgery, man. So, could you mitigate the risk for blood clots with nattokinase? Yeah, you could. I haven't done any research on it, but it does make sense. Um, I have fucking traumas of blood clots, guys. I not myself, but I know so many people that died from blood clots that I just it's a touchy subject for me, man. So I don't want to give anybody recommendations to run raloxifene at higher dosages for longer periods of time when I know they're risking blood clots and I don't know what else you're doing. If it's for PCT, okay, you fucking need it, right? PCT will be infinitely better if you run a selective estrogen receptor modulator for 4 to 6 weeks. But if you want to shrink your gyno with raloxifene over the course of 3 months, only shrinking it by half and it comes back anyway, take it from me. I did this protocol. My gyno's fucking huge right now, but I grew it. Pre-pandemic, yes. Post-pandemic, no. No, man. Sorry, but fucking no. Fucking no. Uh, 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 uh. And if that makes me a bad educator, sorry, dude. Yo, no acne on cycle, but after stopping testosterone propionate, my back acne flared up. Is this due to shorter ester with a longer ester? No, it's just hormonal fluctuations. So when you stop the testosterone propionate, your test goes from here to here in as little as 2 weeks. And then in that hormonal fluctuation, your estradiol is disproportionately higher than your testosterone because it lingers around longer. I mean, it's a metabolite of testosterone after all. So your estrogen, the testosterone to estradiol balance goes from this to this, and then you get acne. So, um, maybe switch from test probe to test indicate, so you get like a little bit of this, and then you don't get acne. Or just really be paying extra special attention to your diet. No dairy products, no cheese, no whey protein, no chocolate, no, or maybe run a low dose of Accutane or high dose of vitamin B5, right? 10 to 20 grams per day. Yes, it's all documented online. It's easy to find. I have 7 videos about acne, hygiene, switch your shirts every time. Chase made a good point a couple live streams ago. Like, hey, dude, if you change your pillow sheets and your clothes, or at least change wear a shirt. If you have a bad back acne every time you go to bed, because all you single dudes, you never change your bed sheets, right? And it's easier to put on a new fresh shirt every night than changing your bed sheets. But at least change your pillowcase, wear a shirt a new shirt every single day when you go to bed. And that prevents a gyno from flaring up. Otherwise, you're just laying in your own sebum, the sebaceous gland secretion every fucking night. And then while you're not in your bed sweating buckets, all the bacteria are growing in there, and then they migrate right into your acne, making it flare up more than it needs to be. So hygiene, right? Hygiene. I shower 4 times per day, and we change our bed sheets every or twice a week. But I sleep naked because it's Thailand. Does glutathione help decrease bloating from GH? No. No. No, dude. Unfortunately not. Congratulations on the pregnancy. Yeah, I need to make official announcement, right? Fuck. Didn't get around to it. Maybe tomorrow. But yes, me and my wife are pregnant. We're in like we passed the first trimester. Let's just put it that way. Every 2 weeks we go to the hospital, do some ultrasounds. It's a lot of fun. You go from a little dot to a worm to what is it called? A tadpole to a gummy bear to an alien-looking creature, and then now it starts to look like a full-fledged human with arms and legs kicking around. And yeah, we're very excited. Of course, we're going to get a daughter, but we chose we chose to implant a daughter first because we did IVF. We had 3 embryos, 2 daughters, 1 son, and we figured, the implantation rates, they increase with each consecutive implantation. If the first one didn't stick, then we'd have 1 girl, 1 boy left. It's math. But first round, first hit, right? So we are expecting. And that means no more Uncle Steve. It means Daddy Steve, just like we have Daddy Chase Irons and Daddy Paul Burnett and Daddy Kurt Havens and Daddy Dr. Dean St. Mart. So even though I'm a little bit late to the party, I did arrive at the party after all. Yeah. Oh, let me do this one first. Possible injection, roid, sub-Q, and intermuscular, same cycle. Yes. Yes. Yeah, go for it. 100%, bro. When in doubt, just do both. Augmented athlete. I get a really bad inflammation from any form of testosterone enanthate. Has this since the age of 25. I use both underground labs and pharma to the same effect. No other enanthate-based product does this to me, just testosterone enanthate. Okay, well then take Cypionate. Right? If you figure that out, you tried all the different brands, all the pharma grade, all the underground labs, homebrew. You don't get it from Primabol enanthate or Trembolone enanthate or Tristalone enanthate. It's only testosterone enanthate. Then go with Cypionate. At least you didn't convert to the Nandrolone only crew, um, which I'm happy to hear about because test as a base, I think it's still better than Nandrolone as a base. Yeah, but no, I don't want to hear it. No, zip it. Aryan, if Anadrol studies show fat mass reduction, why don't more people use it for recomp and cutting? Most people don't read the studies. They go to PubMed and then they start reading and like, oh, I better go to TikTok. I get my advice from Togi. too too difficult. That's medical. Superficial logic. I don't know what that means. Too much work, man, to read the studies. The mass gain after water retention dropping should remain assuming anabolic food and resistance. Yeah, again, it's the studies, dude. So it means in your caloric intake, your energy expenditure, how much cardio you're doing, if you're taking fat burners or not. So again, the studies are interesting to read. In the end, you have to piece it together and make everything work for you. So can you use Anadrol to get leaner? Sure. If you're in a caloric deficit and you increase your energy expenditure. And can you use Anadrol to grow? Sure, you can. Does Anadrol directly contribute to fat loss? Maybe, but most steroids maybe contribute to a fat loss, but are they as good as actual fat burners? No. Are they as good as growth hormone? No. But even growth hormone is a bad way to lose fat from a cost to benefit perspective. If you really want to run fat, then here, like Donald says, retatrutide is the fat loss injection, which is true. And then you combine that with mirabegron and injectable carnitine and methionine and acetylcholine blends, and then you got to be a pretty fucking stack. So yeah, is the copper IOD still the best IOD for women? So I haven't looked into this since my wife got her copper IOD. She got her copper IOD when she was competing because she didn't want to go with a hormonal IOD because that could inhibit fat loss. So right, you get a little bit of estrogen. Obviously, it works locally. But she tried the birth control pill and higher dosages DHEA at the time, and she just didn't like the feeling of high estrogen comparative to her testosterone levels. And naturally, she has pretty high levels. I mean, you should see her testosterone levels right now, since her HCG is like into the 100,000s. Right, good for me though. Good stuff for me. But back then, her testosterone levels were also disproportionately higher to her estrogen, depending on the menstrual cycle and the phase she was in. And then she went with a copper IOD. So, um, did the copper IOD lower her chances or make it more difficult to get pregnant? Maybe. Was it the competing and missing a period for a couple of weeks leading into the contest? Maybe. Was it the clot shots? Maybe. Was it age? Maybe. You never really know, right? Could it all contribute to a little bit to the point it took over a year? That's more likely. Right? Or did age factor into it? That's also very likely. So I haven't done research on this in a very long time. I haven't coached any women in a very long time. So back then, over 10 years ago, that was the best option. But now I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think Victoria Felcar is a lot more up to date with this than I am because she's basically the female expert in this field. And all those girls on Instagram and TikTok are just regurgitating her content. So again, shout out to Victoria Felcar. That's the only women in this space which knowledge intimidates me, as she well knows. Uh, so let me link her Instagram profile down below. She is a fucking treasure. And Yeah, if you want to ask about female stuff, she is the place to go to. Yeah, but she's expensive. You know, you get what you pay for, bro. Ah, Bitcoin is dumping as we're talking. No, it's not dumping. It's just going down a little bit. Is it still retesting one of the trend lines? Fucking Bitcoin is so boring over the weekend, man. I fucking hate it. And then sometimes it pumps. Sometimes on Saturday and Sunday it pumps, but usually just flat lines. Anyway, ask Victoria Falcor. I haven't done research on this in a very long time. Yo, Steve, what's your planned cheat meal for tomorrow? I'm dieting right now, but I might have to call it quits and resume in gym. I'm a bad influence on you guys, right? Tomorrow I will be having copious amounts of sushi because it's probably the last time that I see Aaron because he's moving to the United States. So he might be gone by the time I get back from New Zealand. But I haven't talked to him in a while because I was going to the UK and Holland, and so I haven't really discussed his plan. But tomorrow we'll eat sushi, and yeah, I'll be having all the rolls and all the nigiris and all the sushis and a lot of green tea, obviously to flush it all down, and then I might have some green tea ice cream. That's this downside of Japanese restaurants. They have amazing food, and then you see the dessert menu. Shit. But I'm a brute. I like fucking cheesecakes and brownies and stuff. So they have maybe mochi if it's a nice restaurant. Yeah, you want some mochi, some matcha mochi, or what is it? Sweet potato taro mochi. It's the most exciting thing that they have. Of course, they have killer sake, but let's see what mood I am tomorrow. But I wouldn't mind sake to me, baby. A little bit. Hey, Steve, love and thanks all that you do, Mr. Pinor. All right. What's your personal experience with Dihexa, and do you think it's inappropriate? I describe it to my friends as autism powder. I don't think it would. I never researched if Dihexa would help with autism. I mean, it does offer some. In one or two of the studies, it was shown to increase brain-derived neurotropic factor quite potently. Again, there's not so many studies on Dihexa, or at least I haven't read a lot of studies on it when I was researching it, let's say a year ago. Maybe there's new studies on it. But I like it twice a week, 10 milligrams, either alternated with new pept, and sometimes you got a lot of work to do. And then I take Dihexa in the morning, and then 10 milligrams Dihexa in the morning because it has a long half-life, works the entire day. And then 10 milligrams new pept in the morning, and then another serving of 10 milligrams new pept. And every time I take new pept, I also take 300 milligrams alpha GPC and what was it 300 milligrams uridine 5-monophosphate, and let's say 1,000 milligrams L-tyrosine to kind of get the motivation going. And then sometimes, fuck man, you throw the bromantane on it, and then you're like wired out of your ass. But Dihexa I like, but not every single day, maybe twice a week. Again, I cycle through my nootropics. So sometimes I take a bromantane, sometimes a Dihexa, sometimes a Semax, and then maybe later in the day a Selank, depending on my energy levels. So yeah, I'm quite the nootropic aficionado. And again, I kind of match on what I have to do. So if I have to do a lot of paperwork, routine jobs, it's probably bromantane, or it's more of a stimulant to the nervous system agent. And if I need to do something creative, like thinking or scripting or writing or researching, then it's probably Dihexa or Noopept or both. But regarding autism, I don't know because don't think I have it. Maybe I'm a little bit autistic. Maybe a little bit, maybe some trace amounts of autism. But I wouldn't know if that's appropriate for autism or not. So I think Ritalin is the one for autism. Ritalin, autism. I think that's the one, right? Yeah, Ritalin, phenyl, what is it called? Ritalin probe, what the hell? Methylphenidate can help some children with autism reduce hyperactivity behavior and improve their ability to concentrate. So maybe that's the first recommendation I would give, and then Dihexa on a trial basis to see if that's better or better tolerated. I don't like Ritalin, man. Makes me feel weird. Black Cowboy Boogie. I apologize for the previous question. I meant dihydro Oh, hydrochlorothiazide help decrease bloating from growth hormone. Yes. Yes, you could do that. It's a diuretic after all. Would taking a diuretic chronically be a good idea? Maybe not. Again, Chase was taking hydrochlorothiazide at a low dose every day to help with the bloating on 18 use growth hormone. So maybe ask him in his live stream tomorrow what his experience was, because even at 20 IU's generics twice a week, the bloating was not that bad. So I got worse bloating on one of the generic brands when I ran 10 IU's per day, but it's also brand specific, right? So yeah, and this new brand of generics that I ran up until what was it, a week before going to the UK, so it's 2 weeks ago, I had terrible edema. Didn't take any diuretics though to get rid of it. Only when I was in Dubai. Then my edema was so bad it's in my lower back. I was waterlogged, so I had to take a LASIK. But chronically, I personally wouldn't take a diuretic. I would rather just increase my water intake and manipulate my sodium intake to the point that you get enough sodium to the point you don't retain it. You have enough flushing and lowering of aldosterone levels, and otherwise you can modulate the renin and aldosterone, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system with Turinabol, right? It's an aldosterone synthase inhibitor. Telmisartan to a certain extent, sodium glucose co-transporter type 2 inhibitor, dapagliflozin or empagliflozin, which actually has proven longevity benefits. And I would rather choose empagliflozin or dapagliflozin over hydrochlorothiazide to help keep your serum glucose levels in range at higher doses of growth hormone and promote sodium excretion, which could potentially lower the bloating as well. Is it as potent as hydrochlorothiazide? Probably not. Alexandra Carrera says yes. Well, if she says yes, then just take her word for it. All right, we got to respect our token females. We don't have many in the Vigorous crew. What's your take on tesofensine these days? Do you think it's a good option for people on TRT who want to boost neurotransmitters and lose fat? Nah. Nah, I have a bottle and it just lays there with I think I took it for 1 or 2 weeks when I made the tesofensine versus tirzepatide comparison video when both just arrived to the market, the battle of the overpriced appetite suppressants, and I came to the conclusion that tirzepatide was superior. I haven't even had the need or reason or no. I haven't really looked into it that much. So now, honestly, dude, I think no. It's last on my to take list. Maybe I could run it when I do my fast in January. Yeah, but I'd rather run retatrutide because it has some proven fat loss benefits, and tesofensine just increases your serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine levels. And I'm already on fluvoxamine, and I don't want to make these changes all the time to my neurotransmitters. So no, it's probably retatrutide, and otherwise I'll just suffer through, which is okay. It's okay. It's okay to suffer for a week and just be hungry. Is YK11 in the health phase safe? Possibly a really stupid question. I would consider a health phase only with bioidentical compounds that's considered TRT. And if you're in a health phase, I mean, you should just reduce the burden of the training and the metabolic waste products and just forego anabolism altogether. You're just maintaining during a health phase, so you can go hard at it afterwards. What I will mention in my YK11 deep dive is that I think it's suitable at the end of a cutting phase or the end of an off season to break through strength plateaus and size plateaus as a suitable replacement for Superdrol. I think going forward, I will not run Superdrol again. Because when I ran Superdrol the last time, I know it's into the Mr. Olympia Expo. It's kind of pathetic, but hey, everybody wanted me to show big, so I did my best. I would rather run YK11 because I felt not toxic. The hardness and density was comparable or similar to Superdrol. And I just had this some sort of unique feeling in my muscles where it just felt super anabolic. Whether that's follistatin increasing or myostatin inhibition, I'm not entirely sure. I did one shot of follistatin 344 in my quads, and that gave me this feeling that I had of YK11 for the 7 weeks leading into that shot of follistatin 344 to the 10th degree. Yeah, which were donated by MA. Thank you very much. So I still have a couple of vials of that left, and as soon as I'm back up to speed after my gyno surgery, I will continue with that protocol. Just do one shot of follistatin 344, maybe once or twice per week, and then see how that compares to injectable YK11. But I'm not entirely sure if that protocol will be done. So before I go to the oral classic, so stay tuned. Right, some of these protocols take a while to kind of play out before I can draw a conclusion. But personally, I would not run YK11 in the health phase because I would just run TRT or bodybuilding TRT at, let's say, 500 milligrams per week. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm in a quote unquote health phase, discounting the trips, right? Going to the UK and eating all kinds of UK food and going home and drinking some wine. And I'm going to New Zealand, probably drinking copious amounts of wine and whiskey and smoking cigars. So my health phase will start, let's say, the December 30th to end of January. Yeah. And then let's see at what state I'm in regarding range of motion. And then I might ramp up in February for at least show up somewhat respectable at the Arnold Classic. Not sloppy like I am now. But yeah, health phase is TRT or at least bioidentical hormones. And YK11 is far from bioidentical, baby. Is NPP more anabolic than EQ? Not really. It's all pretty much the same if the milligram dosages are the same. It's snowing with super chats. Yeah. Hey, man, I got to pay the bills. It's either this or stripping. Right now, you don't want to see me strip. Who the fuck doesn't have brownies and cheesecake? Yeah, but it don't have the Japanese restaurant, man. I'm ordering pizza now. Good God. Alvaro, yeah, man. Go for it. Yeah, so the serval cat ideas are out the window because that was plan B, right? I wanted to get a serval or an F1 Savannah cat and a caracal and a capybara if I wasn't able to have kids. But, well, thank the fertility lords that were at least pregnant, right? We still have to wait for live birth, and it's also not 100%. So don't jinx it. But and then we have two embryos after we get. Well, let's not even think about that. We still have a lot of options to give to have children, and even then, now that we know that IVF will work, and I have so many frozen or so many samples frozen, we could always do another round of egg retrieval if my wife is up for it. It wasn't that bad for her. I think she survived that egg retrieval process and the fertility medications quite well. But so servals and capybaras and caracals or F1 Savannah cats are all of the above. That's plan B. And yeah, it just kind of depends on how we would build our house, right? If we have kids, it's going to be more baby rooms, kid rooms. And if we have a lot of cats, then the ground floor is basically going to be a giant fucking zoo. Yeah. I'm happy that at least, yeah, got the wife pregnant, and the servals and the caracals maybe when I retire and the kids are at least 15 and they can deal with the. The problem is with servals and caracals, they like bond for life and they live 20 years or maybe longer, and you can't really travel because they only bond with one or two humans at a time. So if you have a family of two adults and two kids, they might bond with half the family if you're lucky. And then let's say I need to go travel and they bond with me and I need to go travel because I'm home all the time. So all my cats are bonded to me as well. Um, I need to go travel and then somebody needs to take care of them. Man, F1 Savannah cat or serval or a caracal, they will fucking maul you to shit. Even if they're spayed. These are fucking wild animals that are somewhat domesticated, but you got to respect them. So it's almost basically like owning a tiger. Um, and they would need some outside area because I got my my allergies, asthma might come up. So yeah, it's that will be a big fucking commitment, probably bigger than having babies and kids because at least you can take them with you and they can communicate with you after they learn a few words. But a serval, it's either biting or a head bunking or mauling. Yeah. Dude, when you watch those YouTube videos of Like all those crazy Russians owning servos and caracals. I'm sitting there like, what? Why have 7 fucking Sphinx cats when I can have a brutal fucking killer in the house? I don't think it's a good idea with kids, you know. So maybe when I'm like 60, fuck 60, dude. That should be okay, no? Yeah, 60. I should have good financial net worth, should have a house, kids old enough. And then when I'm 60, I'll get like a fucking F1. Still looking jacked, grow like a little white beard. Just grow like a white beard and just rubbing the cats all the time. I think there's hope. I think there's hope. Slave to the iron. Is injectable DHT the same as oral or topical in terms of effects of the body? So no, I heard that Chase apparently has a source for injectable DHT. So I've only used sublingual and topical, so I can't compare to injectable DHT. And I think some of the people in Chase's Discord group have tried injectable DHT, but they probably didn't compare it to oral or topical. But I would assume that injectable DHT at milligrams a week, multiple hundreds of milligrams a week, is godlike based on the reviews that I've read. So ask Chase tomorrow on his live stream. He'll probably have a better answer for you. Alexander was replying to IUD question. So Alexander confirms that IUD is still the best option for female competitors. Tesofensine takes about 2 to 3 weeks to build up in the system, from what I've heard. So for me, it worked immediately. I got all the serotonergic and dopaminergic and norepinephrine, adrenergic. Is that even a word? Adrenaline, whatever, adrenaline like. I got that in the first day. I felt wired as fuck, and I got appetite suppression right away. But then again, I'm, you know, even though I've used stimulants quite a bit in my younger years, I'm very sensitive to stimulants. So if I take bromontane, it's a low dose. If I take Adderall, it's a low dose. And even 250 micrograms tesofensine 3 times per week, I was like, let me clean something. I gotta clean something. Otherwise, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm a high aromatizer at 200 milligrams testosterone per week, debating on running even lower tests with MPP plus Primo, or no test and keep the other two, one to avoid gyno. Now, what you need to do is blood work and keep an aromatase inhibitor and selective estrogen receptor modulator on standby, because even if you're a high aromatizer, Primo will get that down, or Aromacin will get that down. So all you need to do is frequent blood work and adjust your dosages carefully, or get your body fat levels low. That helps. That helps quite a bit. So again, make an adjustment. 4 weeks later, you do blood work, and then make another adjustment, and you keep going until your cycle is perfect. Professor Sheep, Capybara live stream one day. Yeah, 100%, man. I'll be in my in the pool with a couple capybaras, and then in the mud bath, getting fucking drowned by 50-kilo capybaras. Yeah, that would be heaven, dude. I went to a theme park here in Thailand, and I had like, I think like 6 or 7 capybaras, and they're all playing at the water. I'm just standing there, just looking at it, like, imagining how it would be to have a little river with capybaras just running around. I'd be in the water all day, man. It'd be so hilarious. They should get an otter then as well, no, but I don't think they'll survive the Thailand heat. You ever hear what noise an otter makes? It sounds like a little kid. It's hilarious. Yeah, a little zoo. It would be cool. Steve, what kind of car do you want to drive? I don't give a shit, man. I want to have a little zoo. That's what I want. That's what I want. Congrats on the pregnancy. Thank you. I know it was a long journey. Now you just have to wait 60 to 80 years so you can reap the success and that they hate you. Yeah. But so I told my wife, just wait until she's 15, 18, and then your kids that you spent so much money and time on are gonna hate you and don't want to do anything with you. Oh man. Well, I guess it's up to me to make sure that doesn't happen by being present, which I do plan to be. My wife is due in February. Oh fuck! Congratulations, dude. Nice work. Yeah, nice work. Arnold looks good as Santa in his new movie. Really? There's a new movie? Oh, yeah, it's Christmas time, right? Andrew. All right, here's the question. 5 Canadian dollars. Shit, man, that's like worth 50 cents now. Thanks to Trudeau. His height is 6'1". He's 215 pounds, 12% body fat. TRT 10 years, never done a cycle or more than the prescribed. It's an RX, I'm assuming. 120 milligrams per week of testosterone cypionate, 1200 micrograms HCG. That's probably IUs. And half a milligram dutasteride every other day. Work as a model, best 50 milligrams per week at Primo or EQ, hair safe. No, EQ and Primo are not hair safe. Neither is Masteron, neither is Turinabol, neither is Anavar, neither is Winstrol. So if you're worried about that, I would just bump up the dose of testosterone to 200 milligrams per week and maybe increase your dutasteride dose to 5 times a week or every day and leave it at that. Because if your body, you can get your body fat levels down to 10%, increase the testosterone to 200 milligrams per week, and then cosmetically, you should look very similar as adding in 50 milligrams Primo or EQ. So get leaner, add more test, and that way you stay hair safe. And manipulate your water when you have photo shoots. That's what I would recommend to the guys that are worried about hair. Because besides nandrolone, nothing is really hair safe. Again, you can prevent the conversion of testosterone into dietary testosterone by taking dutasteride. So hopefully that doesn't murder your dick. Right, if you're 6'1", 215 pounds, 12% body fat, and you're a model, you're probably getting a lot of pussy, so you want your fucking dick to work, you know? And Primo is not hair safe, EQ is not hair safe. More tests, dude. More tests, more dutasteride, and get your body fat levels down, and you'll be okay. Give a couple pumps for Uncle Steve, okay? Give a shortcake, couple pumps for all the shortcakes in here. Andrew Bills. Let's see. Any question? We have otters where I live. I can take you one. Yeah, otter one. There's this YouTube channel of a couple in Korea or Japan where they have otters. Katsumo and is that the one? Cute as fuck, dude. Kotame, Katsumo, Kotame. Otter, probably butchering that. Kotsumet. You need like 500 videos about otters eating salmon. That's what you do in your free time. Steve, did you watch a movie? He said, no, I just watch otters eat salmon. Take me one. Yeah, otters would be cool too. So we have capybaras, otters, and then a beaver. And should I get a platypus? Is that called a platypus? Platypus? Yeah, you should get a platypus then as well, right? Yeah. I have a little moat around the house with capybaras and otters and platypuses. Shit. I hope Bitcoin goes to 1 million by that time. Otherwise, I can't afford it. And then inside the moat will be all the dangerous cats. Oh man, I'm imagining it. And I should have like a couple spires, you know, in the house, make it look like a castle. Hell yeah. With the drawbridge. And then you play the Hyrule, not the Hyrule, but fuck, what's that city? Oh, Hyrule City theme song all the time. For the guys who know. Well, man can dream, right? You got to do something with your money, guys. What's your Dihexa dosage? Dude, I just answered this. 10 milligrams, twice a week. Try topical. Topical Dihexa, never heard of it. SLU PP322 capsule or injectable. As far as I know, there's only capsules available. Ideal dosage, 250 micrograms a couple times per day. Thank you for the Vigorous shirt. Okay, you were one of the receivers of the Vigorous shirt. So again, Dihexa, yeah, 10 milligrams in the morning because it has a long half-life, maybe twice a week. in combination with other. Again, I discussed this a little bit earlier, so just use the timestamps when I'm done. I'm sure Alvaro can put best Dihexa practices in the timestamps for you. And then never try topical SLU PP332. I only know that there's capsules. Never heard that there's an injectable. I think the oral bioavailability is pretty good. And right now I'm running 750 micrograms per day in combination with MOTS-c. No, MOTS-c I stopped because I was kind of tired of all the injections, but methylene blue I still run. Yeah. Is methylene blue 5 milligrams a day year-round safe? No studies that I've read in human subjects at that dose being safe, but short-term use seems to be reasonably well tolerated. Is Primo a lot worse on hair than EQ? No, they're both bad. I've ran EQ and Anavar with no hair loss. We'll need to do a hair protocol on Primo. Maybe everybody's different, man. Right? You never know. Everybody's different. I've heard guys get horrible hair loss on Masteron and nothing on Primo. I've heard guys get horrible hair loss on Primo and not on EQ. So everybody's different. And the only real way of knowing is by getting your hair dirty. Your hair dirty, yeah. By getting your hands dirty. So generally speaking, only testosterone and a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor or nandrolone are hair safe, and maybe the Anabol. And then EQ, Anavar, Winstrol, Primo, Masteron, Proviron, halotestin, but we don't run that long term. Those are all not hair safe. And again, if you found out through self-experimentation that EQ and Anavar you didn't get any hair loss, then feel free to experiment with Primo. Maybe you're immune to hair loss like I am. This is just by choice. This self-induced hair removal 3-4 times per week because it grows like a fucking weeds. Give it a try. See what happens. See what happens. You know, and if you don't get any hair loss from Primo either, then you can run Primo. But it's always a risk. Look into others. I'd definitely get a capybara if they were legal here. Yeah, I wouldn't mind extending the family with more animals, but let's see how the burden of extra kids is first. And I'd rather have 2 kids than more animals, because I already have 7 cats and 1 outside, and it's a fucking handful. It's a fucking handful. So when I'm retired, I can look into otters and capybaras and caracals and that kind of stuff. When the kids are a little bit older, a little bit more self-sufficient. But I can't imagine opening up a zoo right now with all the animals that I already have, and then raising kids alongside of it, and then managing my assets and trying to do something on the YouTube channel. So I'm going to have to make some sacrifices somewhere. It's getting cold in here. 1 second. Still wrong. It's the wrong way. It's blowing in my nose. I think we're done with all the questions, huh? Well, it's been 2.5 hours. I'm sure you guys are bored. So yeah, let's see what the workload is of all these kids. Jesus Christ. Get out of my face. Thank God my parents for no hair loss no matter what I've done. Yeah, me too, man. No hair loss. I got hair everywhere. It's disgusting. Got hair here, on my face. I shaved today, man. Look, it's already growing back. My fucking chest. Look at this fucking gorilla shit on my back. Man, I never had any of that before I started steroids, though. So, blame the Tren. Steve, what's your hair growth protocol with Tren? All the 15-year-olds. Steve, how can I get a juicy jaw? Cook your chicken all the way through and chew on that. Cook it to death so it's nice and dry. I'm a bartender and the shift is dead. Okay. Night shift. Running your healing protocol for chest, shoulder strain. Should I completely stop push days during the protocol or some light training? I think light training is okay, but we're talking about very light training, high reps, just to increase mobility a little bit, get a little bit of a stretch. Obviously, the blood flow to this area where you had a strain is going to be good because the blood contains nutrients, assuming you eat healthy, and that will definitely help with the recovery. So every time I have an injury somewhere, I would always do mobility work. So when I tore my hamstrings or when I tore my chest, I would just keep moving it just to get a little pump, get a little bit of blood flow, work on the stretch, right? Work on the mobility, loosen up the issue, do a little bit of massage therapy. Nothing too aggressive, but at least enough where you feel that it improves your mobility and recovery process. Tren didn't give me a beard, but for sure gives you some nice back hair. Yeah, it's Tren is probably the most androgenic compound you can take. Even at lower dosages, man, it just turns you into a fucking gorilla. Gibson Chidwood, 600 milligrams test, 300 EQ, 50 milligrams mint, 75 milligrams Anadrol, 75 milligrams Trembolone suspension. Ooh, happy days. 150 milligrams Mirabegrowth, full mitochondrial support, getting ready to walk around the Arnold Saucy. All right, hope to see you there. Hope to see you there. Yeah, this is a good time to start for the Arnold Classic, right? Oh, we got what, 3 months? December, January, fuck, 2 months, dude. 2 months. 2 months and 2 weeks. All right. Well, let us know about your trembolone suspension experience. To take one shot before the expo and don't go crazy. Man, I took 50 milligrams trembolone as suspension a couple times. Just want to rape the weights. Yeah. Yeah. Hip thrusts, no safe. Oh man, tore that machine a new asshole. All right, guys, let's throw in the towel. It's late. No more super chats. This will be the last video of 2024. I'm going on holiday. I'm sure you guys can do without me. Right, next weekend is you should be spending with your family. You should not be spending it with me, as I will be spending it with my friends. I might be here for a boosters Q&A on January the 1st, but it highly depends on how my flight back is and how much alcohol abuse took place when I was in New Zealand. Because again, I know this guy for 40 years and he doesn't give a shit about my bodybuilding. So there'll probably be copious amounts of whiskey and wine and cigars there. And allegedly I will bring some of it. So let's see on January the 1st, but definitely I'll be back on January the 4th. So that's 2 weeks from now. I'm sure you guys will survive. And then on January the 6th, we'll have the Anabolic Roundtable discussing first cycle to IFBB Pro cycles for the Mr. Olympia stage with none other than John Jewett, who was kind enough to share 2 hours of his time and join in on the madness, so to say. So, guys, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a very Happy New Year. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which means you can basically do everything the fuck you want, which means eating a lot of food. If you want to get drunk, go get drunk. If you want to take some mushrooms and MDMA for New Year's and light firework, I'm not going to say you shouldn't do that because I've done that in the past and I have fond memories. So, very fond memories of that kind of shit. So by all means, go crazy, just stay safe. And the last thing I want to hear next year is I lit fireworks and I blew my hand off, or I ate copious amounts of food and my stomach exploded, or I ate copious amounts of food and I got so fat that I needed to use the CPAP and my nose started bleeding. So enjoy yourself in moderation, but don't moderate yourself too much to the point your family doesn't like you, because again, from Monday onwards, I don't want to hear anything about bodybuilding from you guys or myself. Just enjoy yourself, and we'll see we'll see you next year, hopefully with some good memories of the next 10 days. All right, peace out, guys. We'll see you next year, and let's hope 2025 will be as fun as 2024 was. All right, see you guys later.